We're live. We're live, I believe. Let's see. Actually, let's literally see, because we've been having some internet issues. I don't know. Donald Trump today said, stop asking about the fucking list. And then all of a sudden people go live and they want to talk about shit and their internet can't work. I don't know. I took down the background, but it was still telling me that I had a horrible connection. StreamYard or whatever the fuck. Yeah, it was telling me that it was an issue. It was just shenanigans across the board. So I'm going to make sure that I'm even live right now, that my connection is even reasonable to ask somebody to watch. And hello. Don't feedback. All right, so look. I'm going to tentatively run this live and we're going to see how it's going. But we have like some weird storms going on outside. I talked to KC and KC said that, brother, yeah, let me know how we're coming through, because I'm a little worried about the connection, because it was real unstable before I went live, and on the other live that I started, it was like completely unwatchable. So, but then I got on, I talked to KC, who I was doing the live with yesterday, and he said it doesn't show anything over you on the map. Showed some weather site or whatever he went to. I'm like, that's a real bad sign of the funding, because I'm telling you right now, like, I literally couldn't go live. So, I think right now it feels good. It's fine at present. Beautiful. Okay, I think we're just gonna give it our best shot. We're gonna try to do a live tonight, and we got to start a little later than we thought. We, start around 10, and then, like I said, I just wasn't shaking. So at some point, I might end up even eating my dinner right here, because I kind of paused it a little bit, and my woman's in there, she's cooking, and that was a whole nother side quest that we had to manage. So that was it's been a thing, but we're here now. We're grateful. And Sandor, thank you for hopping back in here, man. I'm glad you came back in and hop back in to check out what we're doing today. And I'm glad to have your input on some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, which is obviously, I have some more videos of the ongoing quests to have the list revealed. Oh my gosh, I hate to say it. She's cooking. I mean, I don't hate to say it because it's great, but she's cooking steak right now. I don't know if that might take, like, I might lose some masculinity points to the audience by, her in there cook, or do I really, like, when you really break it down? So it's like, no, I'm excited to have that. And that might just have to get chomped down on right on camera, because I can't let it get cold. It is what it is. But yeah, we're going to talk about that whole Epstein thing. I have a bunch of videos. I got to see if I can bring them in. That was another thing. I had like 10 fucking videos to react to. So I might have overloaded the queue, and it was just like, all right, you got too much going on. We can't process all this. Not if you're trying to stream this shit for free, which StreamYard, by the way, if you use it on the front end, let's just say that we appreciate it, because I appreciate that we're able to connect to people all the way over in New Zealand, my brother. And I got to actually ask you, I had a question for you about pharmaceuticals, and we'll get into it or whatever. Actually, this is probably a good time. It's just me and you in here, so let's just chop it up. Fuck it. At the forefront. I was thinking while I was going live and we were talking and stuff like that, I know that it's America's a little bit of an anomaly, because they allow pharmaceutical companies to run commercials and things like that, advertise. And I think the only other country is New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just curious, like, how pervasive is that industry in your country, and just, yeah, in general. I was wondering how much that kind of like relates to you and how it affects your guys' life over there. So just a random thought, and I was like, who better to ask? Like, what an honor. So yeah, I'd love to get your opinion on that. But that's not what we're talking about necessarily today, but we will talk about that. I'm intrigued. Superman showing love to illegals. What the fuck is that about? So the Superman movie, I have a video, and I want to look up some of like the articles that have been written with people found a little distasteful, just the connection to Superman and immigrants, and them trying to kind of parallel that story. To be fair, I haven't seen the movie yet. I plan on seeing it as soon as possible. Like, it's honestly, I feel like we're really lacking in legitimate movies to take the family to. We did Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo and Stitch was fucking god awful. Just a complete bastardization of the original. New Zealand is the only other country. Yes, correct. We get ads like, "Do you have a headache? Take me." Okay. That's as extreme as it gets. Okay, interesting. All right, yeah, I just didn't know if it was maybe more pervasive in that economy or something, or why exactly they allow it. I guess why the fuck not, really, as long as you're not gonna allow it to. I guess it limits the profit motive in a socialized healthcare system to where maybe you wouldn't have to worry as much with that kind of like predatory aspect of it. I don't know. So that's interesting. But, then what else? Oh yeah, we're gonna try to get to the Drake thing. I had some people that wanted to hop on, but we ended up obviously going a little later than expected. So they wanted to talk about the Drake track that dropped and how we all felt about how that was received after the Kendrick Lamar beef and all that kind of stuff. So we were kind of interested in discussing that. I'll discuss it regardless because I still find it a little interesting, but I don't know if those people will be able to hop on, like I said, because here it's around midnight. So shit. It's just what happened. It's just what happened. But to lead into all this good stuff, no, not pervasive at all. Sometimes I listen to Talkback, and occasionally they play American ads. Bro, you feel scared for your life after listening. It is interesting. I love to hear that perspective because from an American's perspective, I'm so used to hearing it. You almost like, it's honestly a lot of the ads, to be completely honest. Like we were talking about the WWE, bro. If you're watching motherfucking Monday Night Raw, you're going to be having some medication suggested to you in a in a very forceful way. Like, yes, absolutely. But no, so it's like that is interesting. It's not as abrasive to me because I've come up in that culture where it's like we've always had those ads. But I do realize now that I'm older and just more conscious to the world, where it's like you just notice that the kind of nature of what's being pushed, and you definitely at the end of all those ads, you're like, fuck, I think I am depressed. I think I am actually depressed. Maybe that's the very beginning. That's the cycle. The commercial is the first touch point, as they say. But we're gonna see. I'm really interested, Sandor. By the way, how are the people over in New Zealand? How do y'all feel about fucking this Drake situation, brother? Do y'all even give a fuck about that? I don't know. And I don't know your age, and like I don't want you to share any information you're not comfortable sharing, but it's just like, is that something that is culturally relevant in New Zealand? I'm curious. The ads are essentially, there's a boogeyman. He's out to get you. Buy this. Yeah, exactly. Bro, I'm old. What's up with Drake? It's all good. No, I understand that. I'm really on the edge of that, where it's like I said on the last live, I don't know if you were already on at that point, but I have previously on the show, I'd have people on every single week and we would do these like debates around whether it be, a lot of times it was sports and it would be kind of pop culture stuff and it would be politics mixed in there. But then when the politics get so fucking crazy to the point to where I feel like they are now anyways, personally, and it's my show, so it ends up being tilted in that direction. When I'm making the list of topics to talk about for the week, I'm like, okay, what do I want to talk about? It's like, it's fucking 80-90% like, oh, the fucking country's on fire. And I'm like, well, you have to talk about that. It's hard to talk about, oh, Drake fucking sold a little bit more. He sold a little bit less than he did on his last release. And is that like, it's just like, is that based off of his, his beef that he had with Kendrick Lamar going back? And like I said, with you, I don't even know if you even know about that, like the Kendrick Lamar. It's curious to me because it is something like, my mom isn't into hip hop or anything like that, but she knows about all that kind of shit. So it's like in America, it is kind of in a weird way. That is something that, specifically the Drake thing, is something that versus Kendrick Lamar broke through on a culture level, like just generally old people, young people. You have people at their bar mitzvah playing the fucking Drake diss, talking about certified pedophiles. Meanwhile, they won't release the fucking Epstein list. That's crazy. I know they had a beef and Kendrick was referencing Drake being a pedophile. Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. So yeah, him. So basically, him returning from that slander and he is actually suing Universal for basically promoting Kendrick Lamar's music and not promoting his, and like boosting it with bots and shit like that. So it's an interesting thing to consider when he's returning. Is he going to be able to return at the same height that he was? But like I said, it just, you end up talking about other shit about, like I said, people are like, the other thing that we're going to talk about I find kind of interesting is the Superman thing. I don't know how much you're into that kind of shit. I had to look up a YouTube video about it a while ago. That just sounds like a kind of piece I could never even imagine as an American. And not that I don't find this shit interesting. I'm not going to be above the bullshit. I enjoy talking about the bullshit. We will talk about the bullshit and hate on it from time to time. But it's like, you are kind of like you really wouldn't be able to escape it. There's fucking no way you would be able to escape the conversation of like around these kind, but it's all obviously clear distractions when it's like, I gotta actually start pulling up videos. I honestly didn't think that I would even be able to connect. So it seems like connection is pretty stable. So I didn't upload all the videos previously that I did for the other stream. So I'm going to start uploading those now. We can watch those and stuff. But yeah, we have some pretty crazy stuff to talk about. And some pretty crazy admissions, I think. I hope when I pull these up. Yeah. I guess I can't say admissions, but clearly trying to, bury the story, which is just like, it's obviously something worthwhile to talk about. It's not like it's the Epstein shit. I'm going to pull up this video with Donald Trump here in a second. I got to find it because it's fucking buried amongst like 10 videos. But he ends up being asked by reporters about the Epstein list. I really want to share that with you guys. I think it'll just be interesting. I just watched a 3-minute quick take on Superman. Guy said it was good. James Gunn is a very good director. I agree with that. Suicide Squad, by the way. And don't fucking pull our video down and put it, like throw it into the fucking volcano with the fucking ring from Lord of the Rings just because we're talking about Suicide Squad, for the love of God. But yes, the Suicide Squad with James Gunn, he completely revived that and flipped it and made it like, I mean, that really could have easily been a dead franchise, and DC was being laughed at. Like, I mean, they were basically going to, as far as like being competition with Marvel, there was just, at that point, it just didn't even seem realistic. People weren't taking them serious as an alternative to Marvel at that point. Completely had killed all credibility leading up to that. A bunch of shitters. And then he took a franchise that they had just made and kind of did a little bit shitty. And he took out the part that I thought they did the best, which I sound fucking crazy to say this now, but Will Smith honestly was good in that movie. Will Smith was good in that movie. I'm sorry to say. I mean, now he's a little bit of a fucking insane joke. I think it's this video, but hate to throw Will Smith in this fucking action here, but it is what it is. I can't help it. I found the video when I found the video. So this has nothing to do with Will Smith. Let's make that very clear. Yeah, that's a Squad sequel. Yeah, absolutely, it was good. No, I agree. He took that and then a solid, and then I mean, they ended up basically handing him over creative directive over all of DC at that point. And I don't know, have we seen anything from him after that? I'm trying to think. When I met my wife, I told her my name was Kent, like Superman, Clark Kent, and she said, "Who is that?" LOL. I love that, brother. Yes, sir. I love that for you. I love that. Welcome, Kent, by the way. Anyway, go check out Kent. Kent is a conservative, extremely conservative Trumper. Let's just be clear, but we love him. I just want to let people know what they're going to get into. Go follow his page. He still to this day, I'm putting this in the, if you wanted to hop on here, Kent, you already know I told you to hop on here. Stop bullshitting. But no, go follow his page. Great guy. Great, solid guy. But also a wild boy. What the fuck you thinking, Clark Kent? Clark Kent would never vote MAGA. Clark Kent would never vote MAGA. Fuck out of here with that. Gates open. I reference Arnold Schwarzenegger movies to my wife every day. She has no idea. Yeah, I mean, it's just curious, but the movies, they are. I mean, my dad was like a movie buff, so I don't know. I might have a inflated perspective on this, even as an American, but yeah, they're an extremely influential in our culture, and one of the from the inside looking out, seems like one of the most powerful tools that we have kind of culturally, you know. I mean, at least in the past. I mean, now even domestically, we don't even have movie stars domestically, so it's like you can't put, it would be back in the day, you put fucking Tom Cruise in fucking anything and people are gonna go watch it. Tom Cruise is a sports agent, fucking Tom Cruise is fucking, you know, obviously a secret agent, which is badass. All kinds of silly shit. Think of all the Outsiders, obviously, if anybody remembers. Pretty sure Tom Cruise was in that. That was a deep pool. That was definitely a deep pool. But right here, Gates, I hope you're still in here right now, brother, because this is for you. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Hey, Gates Open Media, you need to see this. And I love this, brother. I love that my brother Sandor's in the building. Much love. Thank you for tuning in. Anybody that's new right now, tuning in, like, share, subscribe, obviously. Help out with the algorithm. We're trying to build up the community, the vibes, just regardless. I get on here, we have fun and we have a good time. We react to stuff. We kind of debate stuff from time to time. We'll just have conversations. It's a good vibe, good people. And yeah. And then there we go. Sandor, hell yeah. Tom Cruise and the Outsiders, great book. If you didn't read it, don't subscribe. But I know more of you have read Outsiders than haven't, so subscribe if you've read Outsiders. That's the trap. That's the trap, and you can't get out of that. So in Gates Open Media, definitely right here, the new age clack can't. Okay. And I'm going to read it how you said it because now we're enemies. Hop in here, Cole. And my real name is Kithany, but no one can ever say it right. Kent the knee. Okay, I got it. And then we said, yes, I told her she must see it. I'm here. Stone Cold has to Pete said to Beyonce's. Hey, yeah, I know exactly for the fucking what is that? That was for the King of the Ring, I believe, in real life. I don't know if you're doing the like classic wrestling matches or whatever on 2K, on WWE 2K, but I think that's when he did his Austin 316 thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just running through here. Oh yeah, Kent. That's why I wanted to show you. So everybody, real quick, this is for Kent, aka that was Jake the Snake. You're the man. Okay, fuck it. Yeah. No, before I even move forward, we will correct that. Thank you for that, sir. Sandor with the tag team. Universe booking myself. Hell yeah. He said, no, fuck yeah. But the right way to do it was Ted DiBiase, obviously. Yeah, can you see other people's universes or whatever? I kind of want to watch your Raw show every week. I don't know if that's something you're capable of producing. Sounds like your roster's fucking stacked. I'm just trying to go through here and make sure we're good here. Yeah, Gates Open Media. Just stay with me real quick, brother. Because this is for you. I want to show you this. I don't want you to be able to run away. Because sometimes I'll post shit. I have a group chat with Gates Open Media too, and he'll post fucking a slew of shit. And I try to go through and I watch him and I'll respond to him. He likes to not respond. He likes to not respond to the response. And that's just disrespectful. So don't run. This is just like we're in the group chat right now, and I'm sending you this live and direct.
Many Americans are afraid.
Never mind. Holy shit, that's the wrong video. All right, so that's something else we're gonna talk about later. I can only see the videos are very small, to be fair, and I just saw a head of a slightly orangey tan face, and I thought it was Trump. That was my bad. That's not Trump. That's Tucker Carlson. And we're going to talk about that. He interviewed the president of Iran. Some people were a little shitty about that. And I'm curious everybody else's opinion. Like, how do you feel about people interviewing leaders of countries that we're at war with? Do you think we just shouldn't hear from them at all? Possibly. I mean, but that's okay if you feel like that. I am curious. Like, I'd like to hear that. I know I have this motherfucking video. Oh no, wrong video too. That's gonna be another video. You guys are getting sneak previews of all the videos. It's like I'm getting to produce this right in front of you, which honestly I don't mind. but I do mind only because I'm trying to hook Kent the knee. I want you to see.
And the problem.
All right, that's Ben Shapiro. He's talking fuckery as well. He's completely supporting the pedos and hiding the list. He's like, what the fuck do you even care about this list for? Didn't you hear the FBI? Let's see here. What's this? What's this? Oh, this might be it. Okay. I found it. Boom. Okay, now we're cooking up. Let's go ahead and throw it on. The show starts now. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Show some love. Hit the notifications. Support the fucking channel. You have no reason not to support this channel. I'm a good person. I'm not on Epstein's list. I'm not. I say release it. It's up to me. I have a beautiful baby. I say protect the babies. I am pro child, but pro like protecting them, not doing what they did with them. Honestly, sending them to a fucking island and then throwing away the list and all the shit. But hey, Kent the knee in the chat, and I'm gonna read all these right here that we got. We're very vibrant. We're loving it. Gates Open Media, go check them out. But this is for you, brother. And actually, I got to get my headphones on. This is all live and direct. I'm doing every single thing in the motherfucking studio. When you hear buttons getting pushed, that's me.
Sit and Politic, man.
That's my kid talking. That's my own seed. I made her. So it's like, come on, everything's happening right now. We're loving it. We're bringing it live and direct. Gates Open Media, this video is this is dedicated to you, brother. Oh shit. All right, this might be the wrong video too.
Nowadays I be
that might be. Yeah, okay. So this is so you know, it's hilarious. This is actually legitimately I made a mistake here. I'll just be honest. And then by the way, I just saw my internet just get fucked up again. But either way, that was genuinely a mistake. This was not the video I meant to show. But it's so much better that I showed it in this way. I could have never imagined that I would end up accidentally showing it in that fashion. Damn, did these motherfuckers delete this shit off my fucking tablet? I mean, off my fucking laptop while I had it? Absolute fucking shenanigans. It's like it's the fucking Pegasus program. Every other video's there. It's crazy. Lock her up. No, we don't care about that anymore. Yeah, no, exactly. Absolutely. So everybody knows here, just to give context. Like I said, I didn't even mean to play this video like this, but this is even better. This is the missing minute of footage from Epstein, which is crazy that there's a missing minute, right? 2 minutes. Okay, that's the video I'm looking for, actually. Yeah, that's Hillary Clinton.
nowadays
That's the fucking Kingslayer herself. She does not mind to get her hands dirty. Everybody fucking knows that. And by the way, shout out to you for tuning back in. I definitely appreciate you. Much love. We're really just getting started, to be honest with you. I'm trying to find these videos because my internet connection has just been crazy tonight. I tried to go live around 10 o'clock and my internet connection just was not having that. And now I'm like, I went live again to kind of test it, and we got a good stable connection. I was like, okay, well, let's just run it and let's just go for it. So now that's what we're doing. Really, we're ripping and running and ripping. I swear, pizza is real. Honestly, well, the thing is, when you look at like those emails and things like that, it's kind of where there's smoke, there's fire situation. 100%. Now anything is plausible when you see that they'll cover up some shit like this. Like, I mean, if you'll cover up fucking Pedo Island, it's like what you won't. There's no line of depravity that you won't stoop to be completely honest. That was okay. Yeah, old Hillary Clinton popping back up in the mix. Yeah, no, I think 100%. That's there's truth to that. But this is, if I can find this fucking video, I swear there's some bullshit happening on my computer. Like, there's this where's this shit? There's a video that I'm trying to pull that I recorded that has Trump talking about this shit, and I swear I'm looking at it right here on my fucking, but whenever I transfer it, it's another fucking video. It's Fucking insanity. Okay, so Pizzagate is real. Pizza for girls, hot dogs for boys. All the police involved self-deleted apart from a couple. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Okay, a bunch of fucking truth sayers in the fucking comments gonna get me fucking my head fucking blown off. I gotta actually run it back. My bad. I didn't realize you guys were going so hard. But I appreciate it and I love it and thank you and revive it. So Sandor here says, I've heard of people doing it online. I really have no idea though. Every couple of years I buy wrestling and use 99% 80s. Very interesting. Okay, yeah. I see. I like to keep it more current and I'll sprinkle in the older superstars, but ones that I feel like it's kind of realistic, like obviously like The Rock, but The Rock will hold the title for the entire fucking year and just he's like a heel of my shit for sure. But I'm talking about more, I do the GM mode. I prefer that. That's what journalists do. Okay, as far as like talking about, and like I said, anybody that's just tuning in, we are going to talk about the Tucker Carlson interview with the president of Iran, and that's what Sandor is responding to here. That's what journalists do, and I totally agree personally. And I'm just curious that people that feel differently, and I think that I'm intrigued by a actually persuasive argument from the other side. I just haven't heard it. That's why I hold the opposite opinion. That's what they used to do. Yeah, that's probably a more accurate way. 60 Minutes back in the day would do it all the time. Yeah, sure, definitely 60 Minutes, and that's kind of like was one of the standards for American journalism for a really long time. And when you think about, 60 Minutes, it feels like it has way less of a pull or influence on the culture compared to where it did, compared to like how Fox has grown and MSNBC. You can't really say that, but they had their little time where they had, Keith Olbermann but he was still really, even though I personally agree with, like, obviously his perspective was we need to get out of the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. It was still like a beginning of news becoming more of like a editorial kind of format for news. But so lock her up. Hey, look, honestly, see, I'm definitely, I go both ways on that. I say, yeah, but that's what it's been interesting. Like I said, on Twitter, going through there is, you have to wonder how much of it is even real. But you have some people that are like, well, people that I've known to be like, these are top priority. Obviously, like Epstein is one of the top priorities, as example of how the Democrats are basically aiding and abetting fucking pedophiles. Sure, whatever, cut that, editor, me later. But I think that yeah, so it's just like at the end of the day, now you have people flip-flopping in that way where it's like, well, what if it causes so much confusion in like these industries and in politics and things like that? It's like, well, those are things we need to shake up. We need to have that not ever happen in the future ever. So it's like, it's just crazy to me to think that people would sacrifice, I don't even know, I guess like just comfortability, and like it's obviously short-term comfortability in reality, because it's like, is there basically, could we not have a functional society without allowing a portion of that society to get away with crimes, including what we're talking about here? Fucking insane. Gates says that was all killers. And I think you probably meant like killery or something. I'm just adding that. And then all the police involved. This is Pizzagate, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong though, because I'm just catching up here. Pizzagate is real, and this is me reading right now, just to be clear. Pizzagate is real. Pizza for girls and hot dogs for boys. And then M says, yes, dozens of FBI was Clinton. Yeah, they got the old Clinton severance package. Shotgun to the face and fucking rope around the neck. Oh, man. Gates Open Media, just like I've been telling you, the moon landing was saying, okay, well, hold on. Just recognize, okay, you have this, use this as your journal and just understand how you're progressing. It's just, just consider the next step it takes from here. Just be clear. All right, so Gates Open Media here says, just like I've been telling you, the moon landing was fake. Been telling you that for years. And then we have Former Hillary associate found with 2 holes in the back of the head, no foul play suspected. Sometimes when you just really want to end it, though, you're like, I really want to make a statement. I want to make it, you know, I want to stand out. So I'm going to do it in the back of the head. Sandor said, I would never do that, by the way, to be clear, just to say that on camera. My woman just popped in. I want to make you think that you get away with some crazy shit. All right. Thank you for that. Blind my eyes. I don't know any of the current guys. And then the Van Allen belts have too much radiation. That's why they cover you with lead covering when you get an x-ray done. All right. Fair enough. Like I said, Gates Open Media. Guys, fuck it. You know what I mean? I went to college for radiology. Alrighty. Fuck it. Then just believe everything that he fucking says. Gates, is the earth a globe or flat? God, I know that these comments are going in, it's going to go in a difficult direction. So, by the way, Gates, right there, Gates, is the earth globe or flat? That is a direct question, brother, in the comments. Let's hear it. Pizzagate. Pizzagate is just the tip of the iceberg when they got caught doing, it's been going on a century longer, but in the USA, have you seen Moloch Ritual, Chicago, 1933? That's something, seems like something we should bring it up, right? All right, I'm putting a little star there. I'm definitely, if I don't come back to that, remind me in the comments, because my intention is to come back to that. Clip it. I'm really waiting for this conversation about the fucking about the globe here. Good Lord. The police that seen the Anthony Weiner laptop all committed suicide. Oh, true. God, come on now. AKA Killary. Can we just call that Killary from now on? Please? You know what I mean? I'm like Ron Burgundy right here. You just got me to say whatever the fuck was on the screen. The fact that NASA lost all the moon footage and can't replicate the tech to get people there again is super fishy. Yeah, I think, you know, there's always reasons for doubt for sure. And I think, you know, it's fair to explore those possibilities for sure. You know, I mean, the moon landing, I think, is definitely an interesting one. I don't know. I have a friend who is a pilot, and he says it's round. Okay. So what's that mean? Like round like a globe then, right? And also you're kind of like avoiding. It's interesting because if you just felt like it was a globe, I feel like you were just like, oh, it's a globe. But you said, I don't know. And then you said, I have a friend who is a pilot, and he says it's round. And I'm thinking like, well, we're round like a globe. So you'll just have to clear that up for me, brother. Very interesting. Very. Oh, and then also, how would humanity react if they learned all the worst things from the Old Testament were being done right under their nose? I mean, they'd be really fucking sad about it, I think, brother. Mostly, I think most people would be disgusted. You know? Yeah. I don't think people want that. That's why people, you know, they prefer to, I mean, there's the New Testament. People like to cling on to that in a good way, I think. We make a fair point. It's like all the things that people criticize about being barbaric from the Old Testament or whatever, those things are still happening in our society and also being covered up and supported. Yeah, pretty shareable. I think most people feel fucking awful about that. But a stimulating question. And please, like I said, remind me about the yeah, that is true here too, by the way. That's a little bit of common ground. Gates open. Just check that. Sandor's giving you a little bit of common ground there. He's like, look, there's some shit that's fucking odd. But come on. For fuck's sake. Just answer. Do you think it's fucking a globe, or what do you think? We're not going to take your word for it and tell somebody, oh yeah, I think it's a globe because my friend Gates Open Media said it. Just fucking tell us what you think. It's okay. While you think about it, here you go.
I don't know how they got Trump and the DOJ to do this.
What the hell was that? Okay.
A disaster. I don't know how they got Trump and the DOJ to do this, because the public is not buying it. No one is buying it. So I never saw any evidence of Trump involved in any of the stuff that came out. It was all fake. The fake Jane Does, all the crap, you know. E.G.
No evidence? Was it? He was found guilty, right? Civilly? There was no evidence? Speaking of space, they distracted JFK with space missions. He deviated from his primary goal of keeping subversion and communism out of the U.S. Fuck him. I mean, you took was the moon. Did we land on the moon? Is the moon real? And you just took it to a whole nother. You took it back to the JFK assassinations. You're not wrong. Great point. Sandor, I know how. Miriam Adelson and hundreds of millions of dollars helped. Let's see. Out of all the times you could simulate Earth, and we may have been taken over by Pizzagates and Diddy's. AJ, shout out to you, by the way, brother. Good to see you. How many times could that possibly happen? No, exactly. In a multiverse of infinite realities, we landed right in the one where they're exchanging kids as delicious, like, ballpark fucking meals. How dare they tarnish steak? Steak. I'm about to eat steak. I have steak to the side, which I am gonna fuck up. But pizza and hot dogs too. I'm not much of a hot dog man. I'm a pizza man, but still, how could you fucking taint it with using it as code words for fucking being PDF files? Fucking pedo. We gotta call them what they are. The pedos. They're even trying to take the. We can't even. How are you gonna try to make it where we can't say pedophile? I'm not saying go do it. I'm saying we need to go get them. We need to go get these sick fucks. Gates Open Media says they tell us anything, just like COVID. Oh my God. Tell us anything, just like COVID. Look up Event 201. They had the Tuskegee Airmen who they gave them syphilis. Oh, here. Syphilis, and that experiment ran until the 70s. Shit, bro. I mean, look, guys. There's just a fucking chat full of straight up truth sayers. I can't stop the truth from getting out. You know, that's not what this platform's about. I got to put it out here, boys. Event 201. I'm just saying. I said Event 201. My internet's getting shaky again. So if you lose me, look up 201. If you lose me. I got one bar. They're threatening us. They're threatening to shut us down after mentioning Event 201. Get it out there. Hurry. Go check it. I would never commit. No, but for real, I am losing. It says I got one fucking bar. So let me know in the comments, by the way, if this is completely unwatchable garbage and I'm not coming through. I am allowing this fucking beautiful steak to get cold right now. So if this content's not coming through how I expected, please give me the warning. Okay, I don't know. It's still working. I'm back to 2 bars, so we're just gonna keep on writing it out until they say, no, you're all good. We're gonna get to this video. Steak actually warms up. It's these beautiful fucking Texas steak fries. Shout out to Alex Jones. It's these beautiful steak fries. This is not a sponsorship, but I will fucking endorse these things. Steak fries are an underrated potato shape, and I highly recommend. Let's get back to it. Sandor, and I appreciate you. No, you're a man of honor. You're absolutely a man of fucking honor. And I know that you have no problem with that. Unless you're one of those weirdos that you're just waiting for me to turn this thing into a mukbang, and then whatever you do on the other side of the screen, God forbid. Gates Open says the word conspiracy was made up by the CIA because of the JFK assassination. Wow. Well, I mean, it's a lot of fucking just facts in the chat. I'll give it to you. You're cooking. You're absolutely cooking. They killed the man.
Carol, the crazy leftist cat lady, all of it. So now, by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just you cannot see it any other way. So I'm gonna
welcome to the party, Alex Jones. And Gates Open Media, by the way. Gates Open Media, welcome to the fucking party. All the times you want to hit me up and tell me, oh, I'm fucking right about, y'all can look up. We will look it up. Like, can we just finish the video? That's all I'm saying. You can keep on giving me truth bombs. I'll look up what you're telling me, brother, 100%. But let's just get to the end of this video at least. That's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? And I'm also trying to find another video. So let's not get away from the fact what's going on right now currently. You're talking about JFK and shit. Actually, now you're starting to make me feel a little suspect about it. You're coming in. You're talking about a lot of shit that's making us feel like you're an ally. And how do you feel about Alex Jones? I'm a little bit of an undercover Alex Jones fan myself. It's just, you know, you might not be an undercover Alex Jones fan. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think, you know, I'm just curious. Are you an InfoWar warrior? I'm not sure if you can even technically be called an InfoWar warrior at this point. It's got to be an Alex Jones show warrior. Which sounds fucking lame, but well, he's been right like 80%. Hey. And I think that's fair. I do think that he looked like a fucking doofus throughout this entire process, but I will say Alex Jones blows the whistle on some shit that, you know, a lot of people that their image is built around, you know, kind of like compliance with these bigger corporations and like working for like a broadcast network or whatever, because he's been independent for so long. There are plenty of opportunities where I agree with you, where he's been willing to speak out on some shit. He's become vindicated later on. So yeah. So, but by the way, Gates Open Media, I do want to point this out. Like I said, my guy Gates Open Media, I love him, but he is a Trumper, and I think that's fine. I think that we can figure something out between us, but at the same time, I do want to point out we're sitting here talking about Trump literally covering up a fucking pedophile ring. And like, I mean, you want to talk about the fucking moon landing and shit, all fair things. Let's talk about it. But like, you got to square that first, right? Like, we're literally talking about something specific. So you're kind of you're bringing us all over the map on things that we may agree on. But come on, brother. Let's see. We will look it all up though, 100%. I want to see it. Event 201. We put it out there. It almost knocked us off the stream. But and also, you said some shit too that we got to look up. But this is what happens. You know what I mean? It ends up being such a fluid conversation. It gets tough to get into some shit like that. M said Alex wanted to be fatally optimistic. Yeah, and I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not sure if, you know, some of it, I think like he got really put in a position to where he was so adversarial to the left and the left back, to where it's like he had kind of like few friends to make. And so fatally optimistic is a really nice way to say that he kind of was intentionally, he suspended his critical thinking, which everything about your critical, I mean, he's thinking there's no evidence of Trump ever. It's like, we've all seen the evidence. I don't really have to, I'm sure you guys know as much as me as far as with this entire situation, where it's like, you know, the connection between Trump and fucking Epstein is not like a mystery. I mean, to what degree? I guess it is still a mystery, and that's the point. That's why fucking Alex Jones is crying in his truck right now, and I get it. Like I said, I get it. It's fucked up, because I think he's probably realizing like he doesn't have a group on the other side to kind of like coalition with necessarily. I mean, I'll fuck with him. I think the stuff with the Sandy Hook shit, I do think that was fucked up. But I mean, like, to sue him for like $1 billion or whatever they sued him for, I mean, I think that was excessive. So I mean, shit. I think Alex Jones, there's a little bit of a coalition to be made from there, and I do think he wants to. I think he has good intentions to a degree, you know. So it's like I'm not totally against that. I'm not totally anti Alex Jones. Sandor Clegane says, if this Epstein stuff doesn't cause mass protests, nothing will. No, I hear you. Well, I mean, I think one of the things that's so great about this issue, and why I really want to get Gates Open his opinion on it, is because it's been such a line in the sand. So this is such a moment where it really reveals the fraudulent kind of messaging of the the MAGA. And yeah, and I think you are seeing people that have been really steadfast in MAGA the entire time. And you're seeing them even pull back more than what Alex Jones is willing to do right here, who it seems like he's still trying to, like, I don't know, rationalize how it could be. But yeah, I've seen other people on Twitter and stuff like that really consistently being like, well, what the fuck at this point? Like, this is one of the main issues that we were really fighting on, was that, you know, the left was complicit in this kind of activities. And it's like, how could you even make an argument that MAGA isn't directly at this point? The right, I think you could, at one point with MAGA, you could even, like, you know, pull the rhino card and be like, well, they're different. But now, like, this is the most clear cut situation where it's like, you know, there just really is definitely no difference, if it's not worse. So M says, well, okay, so he's right 80% of the time. And hey, look, I can't say that I've seen I don't watch Alex Jones faithfully enough. I watched a shit ton of his content, but I can't say I've watched it faithfully enough to put a percentage that he's correct on, really, but it's possible. Gates Open says, also, I've been saying for years, LeBron, what the hell? This man wants to talk about anything but Trump. Come on. What the hell? You're talking about LeBron now? How the fuck did LeBron get dragged in here? God bless him. So also, I've been saying for years, LeBron isn't better than Jordan. When you first said it to me, okay. You'd have to remind me exactly what I said. I remember my perspective on most of our debates being, like, basically you can't just say nobody can be included in the conversation but Jordan. You have to open it up for other people that have other opinions. I don't know if I ever said that I feel like LeBron's the greatest of all time personally, but like I said, man, you want to talk about everything but fuck, like, I'm questioning. I know Gates Open Media, so I know that you're not. I know this is not a Trump bot, but goddamn, you're acting as one right now. We're talking about fucking. We're talking about what we're talking about. I think I've said it enough. We don't want to PDF files. Come on, talk about it. Alex Jones was talking about Epstein years and years ago before anybody heard of him. No, 100%. That's why I say he does blow the whistle on shit where nobody will talk about it. When you say nobody heard of him, I'm sure what you're talking about is, like, you know, normal people. But I think that people that are on the inside, journalists and things like that, I think a lot of times it comes to pass and we find out that a lot of people actually did know about these things and they were quiet about it. Obviously, people are involved in it, so they know about it. So he just had the willingness, the courage, the fucking greed to just say, fuck it, I'll step into this market and really own it. Which, I mean, like I said, I respect Alex Jones because of that. Really just the Sandy Hook shit, it was just fucking disgusting. But it really, I can understand if you're somebody who is constantly, like, questioning in a good way. There are times that you can end up landing and you're kind of just like, you're taking that principle of thought a little bit too far. And it's hard to even say because in that situation, I will say, because I mean, I've watched a few, like, little internet docs about it. I mean, most of the issue is basically his fans turning around and then, you know, taking his words and then using that as fuel to, like, go see the parents and shit like that, harass them. So it's like, that's the part, like, as a parent, is completely disgusting and reprehensible. But then at the same time, how much control does he have over his own audience? I don't know. I guess that's the question, really. That's why the courts came in. But $1 billion, goddamn, fucking came and took the man's studio. Fucking nuts. Gates Open said he said he said Sandy Hook a puppy. I'm not sure. He said Sandy Hook puppy. So I think, a psyop. Okay. Yeah, you really fucking confused me on that. He says Sandy Hook was a puppy. Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously the thing that he was sued for and ended up getting out of hand. But like I said, if you're in good faith, even questioning things, you're like, fuck that, I got to question everything. And I'm extremely pessimistic on how the government operates. They're willing to sacrifice kids. Like, think about all the other accusations that he's made, that you could argue may have some truth to them. if you think that they'll do that and they'll kidnap kids and fucking take their essence from them, it's like, why wouldn't they do the fucking Epstein Island shit? Why wouldn't they, do a false flag that involves a school shooting or something? Like, it's like, so it is all plausible at that point. When you really start to question it, it's like, it literally is all plausible. So Jay says, no way the government under either party breaks what's really going on because of the number of elites. Then he says, just for example, politicians, musicians, entertainers that would be implicated. I agree with you. That's why it won't happen. But I personally don't think that's a reason for it not to happen. And that's kind of what I was getting at earlier, where that's some of the conversation I've seen on X and shit like that is around, like, hey, could this be so devastating to our country that we wouldn't let it get out? It's like, to me, I don't even understand. You'd have to really explain to me in the ways that it could affect the country and how these people cannot be replaced somehow and should not be replaced if they're using whatever their position is to fuck kids. I mean, like, call it what it is. Goddamn, no. But I'm not saying that you're saying that by any means. I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying. I'm sure that is the argument. They think we are stupid or either complacent. Complacent might be true. Also, some of us are stupid as hell. But nobody in this. Oh, fact check, bro. I didn't even fucking notice. Because you and M, you got the same red thing. So I thought this was M saying that. And that's some M shit to say. But I love it in a great way. M is a fucking great brother. So they think that we are stupid or either complacent. No, I agree with that. And I think to a certain degree we are complacent. But once things are just broadly affecting people directly, I think that is something that really inspires action. So as long as you're able to keep people completely comfortable and in their own direct personal life, a lot of people will just be like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me that much. I don't have time for it. I mean, that's another thing. They use a tool of just keeping you so busy with the day-to-day to where it's like, I understand people that don't have time to even do something like this and talk to like-minded people and organize their thoughts in some way. Like, sometimes even that is too much. So it's like, to really get out there and get active and shit like that, it could be a lot. Jay, when have they ever? Let's be real. No, that's true. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe what you were talking about previously, where like they're fucking not bringing these people to justice. I definitely agree with that. And Sandor, and honestly, to kind of like expound on that even just a little bit, is like, we're blessed with the ability to share information so easily at this point, which honestly I anticipate is going to get much, much harder as we see like these like kind of like techno oligarchs start to take over the government. That I think there's a lot of intention behind that, and an understanding that a lot of the dissent that the American people are able to, well, a lot of how they're able to organize around these issues is the use of the internet. God damn, this steak is good as fuck. That's what I'm saying. As long as the fucking, come on, bro. Let's just, Jay, M, fact check, Sandor, brother. As long as the fucking goddamn, as long as the grocery store's got some fucking fat ass steak like that, fucking bring home and fucking, golly. What the fuck am I gonna do out at 12:54 at night? Other than fucking feed my goddamn gullet. When have they ever? No, but I 100% agree with you. My point is with the communication, because I got off topics. This steak is just fucking silly. Is that now that we're able to communicate in this way, we have this kind of like understanding. But previously, you're right, it was still happening, but then there was still the awareness of it was so much less. So they're able to do it and not even really be concerned with, like, I mean, the fucking snail mail, and then just call it a conspiracy and call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. Or fucking burn the ballots. The government is a house of cards. Oh, man. God damn it. That steak, it's immediately, it tastes not as good now once I started reading this comment, Sandor. The government is a house of cards. They're all involved. That's why nothing released under Biden too. If they start dropping names, the whole thing falls apart. I just feel like, okay, erase these people from our government, replace them with better people. I don't know, like, and I feel the same way with when we're running like shitty presidential candidates. It's like this is supposed to be the highest office in the entire fucking country. This is the fucking best people. Like, I've had people that I've literally worked side by side with, and as far as like in nonprofit scenarios or in just regular fucking working retail or something like that. I'm like, okay, this is a person that is organized. They have a good kind of sense of morality to a certain degree, you know, in whatever kind of like positions they've been put in. It's like we end up putting fucking goblins in place, blood-sucking fucking fiends. So it's like, I can't. Gates Open says, I think Trump lived near Epstein in South Florida, near Fort Lauderdale. What are you saying, brother? You're saying everything but the thing. You're saying everything but the thing that's obvious. How's Pam Bondi lie with a straight face? How does she sleep at night, you heartless bitch? That's what Fact Check said. Agreed. Fucking evil wench. Sandor, that's the other thing MAGA is doing. It's all Pam and Cash's fault. They will then say Trump is powerless while simultaneously being the most powerful. Make it make sense. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have seen some MAGA people just be a red line. They're like, this just doesn't make any sense. Even though I'm not seeing them say like we completely denounce it, but I've seen some voices say like, hey, this is something that's not going to go away. We're going to continue to ask about this. The information we're getting right now is not making any sense. And that's kind of like, for example, what Alex Jones here saying. And a lot of, I think, the like kind of podcast group that they picked up during this election, because just not Kamala voter people, like Kamala's cringe, we can't vote for Kamala. A lot of those podcasts talking about like Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Dave Smith already has come out and been like, fuck that, I can't believe I voted for this asshole. So I think you do have those people that are starting to defect, and whether they, you know, outright become adversarial to the administration, that's yet to be seen. I think after this kind of starts to fall by the wayside, and we start to see how they engage with Trump and the people in his cabinet, after this kind of like the heat settles down. Make it make sense. Yes. There's a huge corruption problem in Florida involving many officers. Hey, that's where I'm at, brother. I don't know if we know each other or not, because I don't know who you are from M, but if we know each other, thank you for tuning in as well. I mean, thank you regardless, but I'm in Florida and I totally agree. The whole state is fucked. I was going to talk about the alligator Alcatraz shit. Completely fucking inhumane shit. Like fucking horrible. Let me see here. But there's good ones too. Oh, of course. Yeah, no, we're not talking about, you can never, that's the thing. Some things should just be obvious whenever we're talking about, and I know it's not, so I understand the kind of qualifier, but it's like, you know, we should be able to criticize police officers and it not be oh, you're criticizing police officers, you wanted to fund fucking all police or whatever. You know, it's like arguments get strawman so consistently and like taken to the absolute extreme. It's like, that's a completely reasonable take that you think that people who are public servants, I mean, should not be corrupt. I had a stroke and I still know what a woman is. I mean, like I was never prepared for that. Holy moly. Okay. So Gates Open Media. Here it goes. I had a stroke and still I know what a woman is, but the Dems forgot for some reason. This is my, don't generalize. Gates Open Media, do not generalize with me, brother. That's fucking, when I was talking about the straw man arguments, that's what you just did, but in a really funny way. So I still you still get the star. Shout out to the FBI in the chat. We're all just joking. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck list. What list? I don't even know what the fuck what are we even talking about? I'm with Trump. I literally can't pull the video up, which is crazy. I'm gonna try again because the video is just so funny and such a like what the fuck moment in my opinion. But yeah, with Trump talking about it, it's so insane. So Gates Open Media says I had a hemorrhage stroke and most people die from it. All right, well, and we're glad that you're still here, my brother. Did someone say FBI? Here goes the FBI agent right here. Valiant Thor, shout out to you. Salute to you, FBI agent, sir. Hold it down. I mean, while you have a job right now, Doge might come and cut you soon. I don't know. Maybe FBI runs Doge. That might be how that works. I don't know. Oh, great. Too devastating for the country. Now PDF files are too big to fail. Yeah, we got to bail them out. We got to give them the big bailout. Oh, my God. When's the last time one of you guys were offered a job from a PDF file? Just let me know. The wealth does not roll down. That's a fucking myth. Trump got the call for the deal he's been waiting for, not from politicians, from the true architects, of the black budget world. Holy moly. All right, brother, you came to the right fucking party with that kind of talk. The black budget world? I can kind of use context clues and understand what you're talking about, but I can honestly say that's the first time I've seen those three words in sequence in that way. I'm intrigued. Make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, support the channel. Let's get in here. We're talking. I have this video that I'm playing, but it's just for me, the chat's more interesting, to be honest. We suspect Israel officials will be implicated by the Epstein list. It's funny that the report came out the same day as Israel officials visited the White House. Yeah, they wanted to make sure to look over it before they signed and said, you can go ahead and release that. We got Gates Open Media. Gates is the only true MAGA. Is he's the only person I know in the chat that would for sure claim MAGA. So I'm very intrigued with how you're taking all this, bro. You've talked about a lot of other shit, so I really want to know how you're processing the information that's been coming out over the last week and how they've handled this. So Gates says here, now that say the United States knew about 9/11 attacks, once again, look it up. You're literally talking about everything else. It's like, that's how crazy this fucking conspiracy is. They're willing to admit now every other conspiracy that's ever happened. They're like, yeah, we killed JFK. Fuck, can we not talk about Epstein? Let's see here. I was working in Tampa as a locksmith at the time. I had a call on MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa after 9/11. Hey, very cool. Hell of a story. Want to go after Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Obama's people. You want revenge on the rats who wiretapped you, set up your family, threaten your family. Fine. The prices, the Epstein book, stay shut. Valiant. I mean, brother, yeah. See, my thing is like, you wish you would have a person that could put aside their own personal vendetta. But yeah, I'm not under any disillusion. I knew that wasn't the president that we had, and I mean, it totally made sense. I could even agree to a certain degree that the Justice Department being kind of weaponized against Trump to prevent the shit from happening, which almost seems reasonable at this point, right? But I'm not going to support that necessarily. But the thing being is that a president having better judgment and having a better ability to understand what's right for the country and have that restraint. But once again, I'm having this conversation of what should be, not what is. And I'm clear-eyed on what is, I believe. So it was a ritual, and they got what they wanted. New wars. No new wars. Or as Sandor said, no new wars. After 9/11, I had to do a lockout on MacDill Air Force, and they had armed guards on the building. I had to check in. Okay, very cool. That makes sense. You want to make sure you weren't armed, brother. They didn't want another incident happening. Valiant Thor here says the Epstein info wasn't just a ledger. It was a nuclear level blackmail weapon, coded, protected, and booby trapped with geopolitical implications. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay. Yes, it was. I mean, we were saying for a long time that Epstein was obviously Mason. So I mean, it's like, it absolutely, it makes sense. If the Epstein info was released, the BBB wouldn't have passed. The Epstein memo conveniently came out a week later. Oh man, just fucking you're drawing all the dots in the comments. All the dots are being connected here, and you're seeing one big painting. We're seeing the forest and the trees today. This guy. The problem is the people who do the replacing are the guilty ones. We investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. No, 100%. I mean, that's some of what is the issue with Israel specifically when we're talking about the war in Gaza, for example, where they're not letting foreign journalists in, so there's no reporting. And even to this point, I don't know exactly where it stands now after the fucking massacre with people trying to receive aid, but where you had even the the charitable organizations weren't even being allowed to distribute food in the area. Like, that's fucking insane. Instead, it's being distributed through basically a military. And then Valiant Thor here says, if the raw unedited intelligence is released, it would collapse the world economy in under 72 hours. Have a blessed night. Jesus Christ. God bless you, brother. How the fuck do you even sleep? Are you sure you're going to sleep? This man, I mean, hey, maybe release it slowly. You know? Anybody ever think of that? Let's just slowly destroy the economy so we could put it back together as we're destroying it. Regardless, the answer isn't just let fucking pedos run around, right? How the fuck do we ever think of the interns, brother? The interns aren't safe. Before there was Epstein, there was many others. I don't believe there will be such a thing as MAGA within a year from now. Well, I mean, I think as long as he's in office, he'll probably maintain some crazy support. But I agree with you as far as the full force MAGA. They really fumbled, to be honest. As somebody who was never MAGA and honestly anti-MAGA from a lot of my points of view, they completely fumbled it. I mean, there was a bit of a cultural momentum behind them at that point. And which I acknowledge, and if coming from the election, they would have actually taken that momentum and turned it into, actual policy that benefited the people that they had won over through just a fucking horrible campaign ran from the Democrats where they want to put forth a fucking corpse to be president. We nominate a corpse. Like, come on. You're Florida man. Awesome. Yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying. We're actually pretty fucking reasonable. The Florida man whole thing is just like a little bit of it's a little offensive. No, just fucking around. I love it. But and I've experienced some Florida men, to be honest. Many a native, but some real fucking psychos. I'll be honest, a lot of the Florida men are probably not native. One of our biggest issues is the transient population, in my opinion. So if you go to Orlando, you'll see some fucking freaks. I don't live in a city. It's a smaller area. It's not suburb either. It's kind of in the middle on its own, but it's like a mid-level city, mid-sized city. So Orlando, though, you go there, you'll see some real fucking freaks, brother. And you'll see the occasional freak around here, but usually it's like they're fun. They have kind of like a fun personality, you know what I mean? And yes, they might have like a pet alligator, maybe. It's like, that's fun. And that's like, oh, character development. I might have this person be my companion in my party if I ever need to go on a fucking alligator hunt quest. Or shit, if I ever get fucking put into alligator Alcatraz, they're trying to send me some fucking place. Send my fucking El Salvador. Please come save me, fucking alligator Andy. You guys know what I mean. Let's see here. From my understanding, Trump knew Epstein wasn't someone he should be around. But then he's around him. That's the question, right? Or do you think he just wasn't around him after that? Damn, I got pepper in my eye. The Jews shot pepper in my eye. Sam Parker Gaines said, we should wait for the rest of the body cam footage before we make any hasty conclusions. Have you ever heard of Roy Cohn? Yes, I have heard of Roy Cohn. Yes, sir. Absolutely, I have. MAGA is really showing their cognitive dissonance with this stuff. It's nuts. No, I agree. You have to. Sexual blackmail stuff been going on a long time. No doubt. That is true. That is true. Like I said, I don't know exactly what we mean, what that means. You know, like, yes, sexual blackmail exists. Yes, it would have a serious impact on the economy and the country as we know it, but it doesn't justify not rectifying a system that's broken to the point to where it will freely allow its elites or whatever to, fuck kids. And I'm sure that's not what you're saying. So when I was 6, he made me sit on the casting couch. That's the world we live in. That's the sick part. That's the fucking sick part. Trust, truth, and justice. Bah, who needs that? World peace, because everyone's dead. That's peace through strength, brother. What do you mean? The Western governments and media are all running cover for Israel. That's why the list ain't coming out. I agree with that, but I mean, at a certain point, I mean, maybe you can just resist this forever, but there is such a consensus with the American people that want closure on this, completely bipartisan, both sides. You have, a few people who are in the actual government are still, because it's a popular issue, and the few that aren't completely bought will bang the drum on the issue to a certain degree because it'll make them popular. And then just, as far as like all of the voices online that have huge audiences and things like that, I mean, maybe it's not going to have immediate impact, but I mean, definitely when you start to look at, I think when we see the primaries, there's going to be some fallout there with all of these kind of things. This is just another feather in the fucking cap of that just being fucked right down the road. So, I mean, seriously, one of the biggest fuck ups of having extreme momentum, a mandate, what the fuck? A mandate, to hear people say, and then to completely turn it around, the public image, as far as like, I mean, like I said, I speak to people that have all different kind of points of view. I live in an area that is conservative. I personally hold more liberal beliefs, so I have friends of both. And it's just like, come on. We can't let that shit slide. 9/11 was really, which I guess, hey, this is an interesting kind of parallel. 9/11 was really about the Privacy Act. After that, we gave up so much. That's very interesting. That's one thing I'll say about the immigration, though. It's the same thing. So while people are like, fuck yeah, immigration, fucking, suspend people's rights that they're owed, the Constitution, I mean, it's really just a guideline. We don't actually have to follow that when it's not convenient. And just these laws that get in place that actually, like, codify these certain powers in place. Those powers will be used on the domestic population first chance they fucking get. Don't get it twisted. Once it's convenient. So I just want to push back on you here, Gates, where you're saying, and I agree with you, where it's like 9/11. I mean, when you say 9/11 was about the Privacy Act, it kind of insinuates that it was done by our government, basically, with that in mind. So I don't know if that's even what you mean. I don't want to mischaracterize what you're saying, but I will for sure say that there's no debate that in response to that, they used that opportunity to take away a bunch of like rights that we have involved in our privacy. So I agree with you on that. But then, like I said, you have to also apply that, open that up and apply that to what you're seeing today. I want to visit Florida, go see Alligator Alcatraz and buy some merch. You know what? I have an idea. You just come down to Florida. You come here illegally. I'll call ICE. And there you go, brother. Fucking, they'll definitely put, I mean, I don't know if it's the merch you're looking for. I'm not sure if they're going to give you a hat, but they'll give you, actually, they probably won't give you fucking any clothes. They probably send you in there in the same clothes that you came in. I have a video that I was actually planning on watching where the guy says they haven't let him bathe in 3 days. So it's just disgusting shit that I think, like, if you're thinking about what you're seeing in front of us critically, how could, even if you're a supporter of the personality of Trump or whatever you like about him, he tells it how it is. How can you just sit there and not look at this objectively and be like, this is fucking inhumane shit? Honestly. Now they tell you to arrive to the airport 2 hours early to check in. That's true. It's a fucking terrorist's fault. That was fucking George Bush's other fucking plan. The comment that guy made about the world economy collapsing in 72 hours if they released the docs is a belief held by many Trumpers. Yeah, that's something. It is interesting. That's very specific. So I wonder what kind of evidence there is to back that up. But I'm open to it because, like I said, I do want to hear what's the argument on the other side to protect these fucking pedophiles running rampant. Like, honestly. But I mean, if somebody has, I get though that it's like a really tough position to put somebody in. It's like, hey, defend pedophiles. So, you know, I get why it's a tough argument to make. Jay said there'll be a very public moment where Trump passes the torch to someone else, and then from there we will see how strong MAGA is. Yeah, I mean that's true. Like I said, I think it'll definitely last until he's president, but it is waning. I think it's already a movement for sure waning on the down tilt. I mean, I don't know if anybody peeped in on the military parade that Trump had, but I mean the streets were fucking empty. He's somebody that I mentioned that mainly because he's somebody that famously brags about just having huge crowds and all this shit. I mean, if you compare that to the No Kings protest, No Kings Day protest that they laughed at, it's like, are you really laughing or are you like, fuck? You know, they might have a little bit of a problem. We might be pushing it maybe a little too far. And Trump's like, fuck it. I only got fucking 4 years anyways. Push it too far. What do you mean? It's the next guy's problem. Supposing you wanted Florida ruined, you'd get the people to go along with you and do things allegedly in your best interest. Then you'd have society come down on you like a ton of bricks. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I will say on my day-to-day, it doesn't feel like Florida's completely ruined. But I do feel the complete distrust of the government and the local government and like the things like Alligator, Alcatraz, although that doesn't directly impact me, I still find it as like a humanitarian travesty that we're complicit in. So Sandor says, Tel Aviv, Ted Cruz. Tel Aviv, Ted Cruz. There you go. That explains everything. Patriot Act. Yep. They immediately knew who did it. Then we get Barack Hussein Obama to run for president. I'm just wondering the connection there. I don't know. You just got to connect things with evidence. When you say shit like that, it's just like they immediately knew who did it. Okay, so you're saying they immediately knew who did 9/11. Okay, I could engage on that topic, but then you said, then we get Barack Hussein Obama. Like, what's the connection you're drawing there is all I'm saying. The actual, like, the connection of substance, aside from the fact that his middle name is Hussein, I guess. I don't know. Just a bad look. Yeah. And then Sandor says, Trump is basically Superman. He's not releasing the files. Because then Sauron will win. Yeah, he's like, this is basically the end of Watchmen. There's the files, and like, does Rorschach release those files or does he not? And we live in the universe where those Rorschach files do not get released, and Ozymandias just goes on and goes on about his business really as a fucking hero. Gates says, you're going to be sad to know Trump will be able to run again since y'all cheated him in 2020. Oh my God. Yeah. Show your true colors. Show your true fucking colors, Gates. You say you want fucking Trump to be a king, brother. It's okay. I'm curious why. And when did you start to be cool with that? I'm not even opposed to loosening up those term limits on presidents. From my understanding, that's something put in place to prevent FDR, who honestly, he was doing the will of the people more than anybody. I mean, a lot of the social programs that we have today were put in through him. So it's like, we really haven't fucking progressed much since they did that, really. Don't imagine it's Trump running the FEMA camps, or that they want only illegals or terrorists in them. They want us all in them. Fuck. Is Trump. Imagine it. Hold on. That went fucked up. Now it brought me to the bottom. So then Sandor says at Trump, is Trump protecting us? Is that why he isn't releasing the info? Please, I'm confused. I'm not sure if that was him that said that or not. I'd have to go back and check. And maybe you probably been following better than I have. Gates says Joan Rivers said Obama was gay. When they asked her, when will we see our first gay president? She said Big Mike, aka Michelle Obama, was a man, brother. Okay, so Joan Rivers is a comedian. Okay, let me make this big because I'm talking to you right now, Gates. I got love for you, Gates. You know that. Joan Rivers is a comedian. You talk, even if Obama was gay, who even gives a fuck about that? Think about all the shit that we're talking about. My internet is fucking going down again, but it's cool. We're still riding out. Yeah, Obama was president. He did plenty of fuckery. We could talk about fuckery that Obama was involved in. The shit that we're talking about right now doesn't have to do with that. Kind of has to do with the fucking moon landing a little bit, I guess. Kind of has to do with all this other shit, but we're talking about something very specific, brother. Something that just happened. You're talking about, was Barack Obama gay? Yes, no, maybe so. Who gives a shit? Aside from laughing at it, kind of. Not because he's gay, but because he's hiding it. And because he might have had that guy killed that was a chef. Jury's still out on that. I'm open. Let's discuss that. Fuck. But does that have to do with this shit? That was another fucking, I'm not going to call the dead man a prostitute. I'm not sure that he was a prostitute. I'm not even sure that he was Obama's lover, to be clear. But I do think it's interesting stuff to talk about. Let's get into it. Jay says, definitely some question marks about what the administration is doing, but also some things I support. I think that's fair. Hey, of course, some things are going to be beneficial. I think it's totally fair. I think but you got to consider the overall collection of things. And I mean, I'm curious where you land on that. M says Israel has said that a lot. Can we see proof of your claims? Oh no, it's too sensitive. The public couldn't handle it. Just trust our word. Yeah, 100%. We obviously disagree with that. We're like, show us the fucking plans to fucking kill kids and shit that you have. The direct orders for fucking, most heinous fucking war, crimes of war. Gates says, yes, and they say Bin Laden was working for the CIA. What a beautiful mind. Sandor here says, the reason you have term limits on the president is so that nothing of any benefit can actually be done. Then you have Congress or Senate not having term limits. Make it make sense. No, I agree. That's why, honestly, I had a debate probably like a year ago or so, and that was my hot take on the debate, was that I think that we shouldn't have term limits for our president. So I can actually get behind that. And I think this is actually another example of what that, in part of the argument I was making then, was like, you have to just not have any faith in the people to say that we have to have term limits for the president, because let's just use this as an example. Trump's like, fuck, I want to get elected for a third term. I personally highly doubt if things were to continue going down the road they are now, even if it was Trump running, as long as there was somebody with a fucking brain in between their skull or their ears. I think that he would have a really, really hard time running on just the record and people's emotions, how they feel, and what their eyes are telling them. You have to really beat them over the head with like, tell me my eyes are lying. And it's like, there's only so much that people, like, everybody has these individual issues. And the Epstein list was something that people really got passionate about as far as like pro MAGA people. So once that becomes like completely a facade, there's been so many things in my opinion that I've seen become complete lies and he's just shit down their throats. But this was a big one. I think this was a real line in the sand for people that just kept the hope alive. Sandor, the reason, okay, yeah, no, I agree with you there. We constantly have this like overcorrection all the time. The pendulum swinging back and forth, overcorrection. When it's like, when you truly have a transcendent leader who has a pulse on where the country's going and is like a good shepherd of that. I don't think that we should just force them out based off some arbitrary decision that, I don't know, that person can become too powerful. I don't know. I think that is obviously true. We see like consolidations of power right now happening, but you don't need a, you know, unlimited term limits to do that. So drain the swamp. I feel that he's feeling the swamp. Yeah, he took the fucking alligators out and he fucking put in fucking creatures from the Black Lagoon in there to fucking let's talk about what Obama really did right in the White House. Well, so I don't know, maybe you're talking about something very specific. So I'd be curious to what you're talking about. But I also, like I said, I don't want to. I have some videos where I have talked about Obama and his like past and shit like that, and done debates on that. I do want to be mindful not to get sidetracked on what's literally happening right now in front of us. Like, you know, I hope I have some shows where the world's not completely upside down fucked to where I'm talking about, you know, the cover up of pedophile rings. And instead, we have some time to like say, hey, let's go back in time and talk about, you know, Obama drone strikes in fucking Yemen. 100%. And I have talked about it actually already, but I'd love to talk about it again with you boys. But holy shit. Gates. LOL. Gates. LOL. A million times. Fucking laughing his ass off right now. God bless the American public school system. Yeah, it got us here. It all got us here. They say they buried bin Laden at sea so no one could visit his tomb. God forbid. My wife is going to be home soon. She's going to hear these Trumper comments and divorce me. No, brother. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're vibing. We're vibing. And honestly, she should look at you like an absolute hero. And also tell her the guy on camera is not fucking Trumper. And if anything, you're beating back the darkness. You know, you're the shining light in the darkness of our fucking American misery right now. M said, did bin Laden do 9/11? Nope. But he did have proof of who runs the USA, and it's literally, oh, okay, this is the Moloch devil worshippers. That's what you told me to look up earlier. No, we got to look it up. That's why I got to get through these videos. But like I said, I enjoy the conversation. You know, for me, it's also, I appreciate you guys getting in here, hanging out with me, and we're having these conversations. So I want to make sure everybody's voice is being heard. And just, yeah, y'all are a hoot. I'll be honest. Y'all are an absolute fucking hoot. Em says the amount of effort spent discrediting bin Laden. Gates said, I'm inviting Trump over for dinner tomorrow. Oh my God, you're killing me. There are two Trumps. The one in your mind that is ideal and works for you, and the other one that works for the elites and is using you. Hot dog and pizza parties. Bro, Em and Sandor, they're double teaming on a fucking intervention for my brother here at Gates Open Media. We're going to turn on his channel whenever he comes back, and he's going to have a whole on fucking socialist revolution on his channel. Just so everybody knows, I am eating with my fucking hands like I'm fucking Zoran Mamdani over here. Don't deport me. Jay said the real reason for, or maybe do deport me. Fuck it at this point. God damn it. Just send me somewhere. The real reason for Iran, Iraq, Syria is all tied to trying to get a sufficient oil pipeline into Europe so that they have energy independence. Ukraine as well. Side note off of the Israel comment. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And that's good to bring up. I mean, as far as like just to give us the full context, as far as like the justification for the war. So, totally fair. I'm not cool with kings, but they shouldn't be able to cheat like that. When I went to sleep, Trump was winning. When I woke up, he lost. Oh my God. In the Dominion voting machines. By the way, they sue motherfuckers, so don't be talking crazy about Dominion on my shit. I think those voting machines are excellent. Yes, the public school system is doomed. All textbooks are produced by a published company connected to Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Fucking good information to know. Maybe homeschool your kids. I don't know. Consider it. Past is precedent, so it's always important. But the future and your contemporaries are what matters. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why, I mean, I think it is relevant. I don't think it's like something not to discuss. It's just stuff you do also want to focus on the kind of situation at hand. And just the reality is Alex Jones is about to throw up in this fucking Ford Raptor.
I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity.
I have integrity. Believe me, guys. I'm about to throw up. It's so much integrity. The integrity is trying to leave my body as I defend the fucking pedophile cult. The integrity is trying to come out. Fucking, come on. Alex Jones, please.
Yeah.
Say what it is, brother.
You know, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And, you know, the left.
Del Taco is not better than Taco Bell. Let's just be clear. That's what he's really saying.
They're all complicit. They're openly promoting pedophilia. We know they're pure evil. And they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. MAGA's tearing itself apart. Your globalist masters literally want you to eat bugs and live in a 5G, 200 square foot coffin apartment.
I'm sorry, but he thought that he was going to get on camera talking about, I'm about to throw up. I'm about to throw up. I'm about to throw up. And people weren't going to think it's kind of funny. Don't demonize us, brother. M says, Alex, you said it in the past. You know you're being screwed over again and again. And then you re-engage. Or reneged, I guess, actually. But re-engaged also kind of works there. Actions like that pipeline don't happen in a vacuum. It's a competition to Silk Road, the Silk Road Belt, and road initiative started by China. Remember British Great Game in India? That itself was part of a larger framework. Its intention was to prevent a larger hegemony power from arising in the largest landmass on Earth. They're so close to confronting the fact that Trump's admin is the enemy. Then they refuse to walk her through the door. Yeah, Alex Jones comes right up to it where he's like, he's acknowledging everything. Like, this is all fucked up. He even says, he's like, any other word, engaged. They're in the cover up. If Trump promotes the death vaccines again, I'm done with him. Alex Jones. And then what did he do? He went on to fucking promote the mind control vaccine shit. The fucking gene transforming. If we're not taken down, we're definitely taken down now. They're not showing this video to another motherfucking soul. Too much truth packed in here. I'm about to throw up because all the truth in my body. When I was in pest control, I interviewed a few people from Venezuela and other communist countries, and they said they love Trump. Fair enough. Okay. Word to those Venezuelan communists.
Look at the left. Look at them all posing with their Pfizer shots, looking like dead zombies. I mean, come on. You guys are sick. And so you shouldn't look at those of us that have a soul still and have integrity in pain over this and celebrate, you dumb pieces of fucking shit.
Wow.
You're going against your own self-preservation, serving this evil globalist system in BlackRock and the New World Order and Hakeem Jeffries and all the rest of it. So I'm just processing this right now. I don't know on what planet.
I'm sorry. Listen. I say fuck Hakeem Jeffries just as much as the next guy. Fucking, he sold his soul as well, no doubt. But you can't point the finger at fucking Hakeem Jeffries and just ignore the fucking president of the United States, complicit in fucking war crimes. I have this other video here, where the motherfucker is, let's see, right here. Well, actually, it's Let me make sure this is all. Oh no, Alex has
Trump is doing all this good stuff in the real
Alex
world
has more to say. I'll get to it in a second.
and still being demonized by the corporate media and constant lies like, oh, there was no weather alert for flash floods in Texas by the National Weather Service. There was the day before and over 500 times. It's just constant lies. I need to defend Trump. He's being lied about. And then this type of shit happens. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just, it's beyond insane. You couldn't try to hurt yourself worse. You couldn't try to discredit the FBI worse than what they've done. Pam Bondi, all of it. All those videos are saying, yeah, she's seen the videos. It's all coming out. And then now it doesn't exist. I mean, what? 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 Damn it.
Yeah.
11 a.m. today, I'll be covering it. And no matter where this information goes, I'll always report the.
Just thought this was relevant. Just in at the end. What a shithole New Jersey is. Just for the record, I lived there before. I'm not just shitting on New Jersey. If anybody's from New Jersey in the comments, truly a shithole. Amazing gas stations though. Wawa's incredible. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. I went and I re-downloaded this video. God willing, I'm gonna be able to show it to y'all. So this is the video I actually wanted. I'll catch up with these comments real quick. This is the video I initially wanted to show you when I actually showed you guys Hillary Clinton tiptoeing into Epstein's cell there. Wiggy here says the British and its navy with America's navy combined wouldn't be able to contain a power that eventually holds the astatic landmass. What we see happening in the Middle East today are fragmented. Now I'm aware of that. People that know about the fall of the Ottoman Empire and things like that, and how they kind of like divvied up those states. And that's a great point, Wiggy Wom. M says, yes, BlackRock is taking over America. That's literally what MAGA is. Okay. BlackRock is MAGA is what you're saying. That's interesting. Wiggy Wom here says, of that old British doctrine from the 1800s. And then we got Gates Open Media here said, I had a friend who I played basketball and football with, who was the first Marine to die in the war on terror. They named the post office after him in Polk County. Hell yeah. I mean, it's sad that he died, but it's pretty sick to have a post office named after you in Polk County. Sandor said America is a dystopian hellhole. Fair enough. I mean, but New Jersey is fucking worse. You know, that's like the dystopian asshole of the dystopia. Especially that area in New Jersey. I think it's like East New Jersey, where there's just a bunch of just industrial land. It's just truly just a disgusting place to live. Wiggy Wom, Alex Jones is a useful tool to stake out the Overton window for debate. He seems wild in his takes, but trust me, he isn't radical enough. No, I mean, I think that's fair, definitely. And I think that's a good point also. He kind of sets the parameters of an extreme, but in reality, there's a whole spectrum, and there's a gradient of truth there. What the technocrat feudal overlords intend for humanity is much worse than Alex Jones will ever convey. He's fucking scared to say it, dude. I mean, but what he conveys, to be fair, is pretty scary, pretty goddamn creepy. You know, the fucking lizard people taking the essence from children to live forever. That's fucking wild. My friend, the Marine who died in the war against terror, his name is Ron Payne. Ron Payne was his name. His name was Ron Payne. 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 If you know the reference, drop it in the comments. So when Columbine happened, I was in 10th grade in 1999. Well, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you for being in 10th grade when all those kids got shot in that school. Let's get into this video right here. And this is going to be Trump actually talking on it. So he got asked from some reporters about it. I'm sure you guys are going to have some very interesting insight here. Let's go ahead and share. Oh,
Sure.
See, this is the shit. They keep on fucking up. They don't want to let me show Fight Club. Hell yes. Brother. Birds of a feather. All right.
Sure.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of his death?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, could I just interrupt? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure.
I mean, come on. I'm gonna give it back to old Pam here to try to twist us in knots with her fucking Jedi mind tricks. But holy shit, if that's not the most clear, basic. The man asked a question about some shit that came out yesterday, and he asked, "Why are you asking?" He's like, "Are you?" And he at first he says, "He's like Jeffrey Epstein. I keep hearing this name. People keep talking about him around me. I'm just like, what the hell is the big deal about that? Why are we talking about that? So isn't that old, right?" And then he says to fucking Pam, he says, "Do you even want to address it?" He wants to just skip it. Like, come on. Like, how more in the open and just disgusting? We're talking about fucking child sex ring and just the being asked about during a press conference. And it's just like, you still want to fucking talk about that? Are you fucking serious right now? People are still talking about that? It's crazy. Wow. Okay. Like, that's not what we're talking about here, though, right? Yeah. Bro, it's what we're fucking talking about, actually. God. Gates, where are you at, brother? Come on, please say something about this. And do not tell me about fucking somebody's fucking home run record or some shit that you fucking... Please, yes, please, brother. All right, I got to get into these comments because we've been having an informed discussion all night, and this is the fucking video I've been trying to find. They tried to delete it off my laptop. I found it back. I brought it back. It's persistence. It's persistence for freedom at the end of the day. Trump had warp speed on the vaccine. So if Trump brings it back, I'm out too. Okay, so that's your red line. That's interesting. Okay. Are you still talking about Biden? Yeah, exactly. Nothing to see here. Like, what are we even talking about? Was that the name of the meeting? I didn't see that. The thing is funny, though, it's kind of like maybe biting them in the ass a little bit. Not that I don't think they're going to completely shut this shit down. I think they have no principles at all that they're working off of. But opening up these kind of like press rooms to more alternative media and things like that, you know, where I think it was more of like a virtue signal to that part of their voting base, it may potentially end up backfiring on them a bit. You have this fucking kid that's just like, I'm going to fucking stutter this question out, bitch. You're going to listen. So stop talking about Israel or they will expose me. Yeah. And his kind of like tone kind of sounds like that too. He's like, we need to fucking seriously stop. I just told BB that for real, we weren't going to fucking talk about it anymore at all. Like Epstein, who the fuck? Oh my God. Hilarious. Wiggy-wom. Epstein was offered witness protection, most likely by Trump's Justice Department, blackmail on Trump himself and Trump's enemies. Once the blackmail was secure, Epstein loose end was nipped. Fair enough. Yeah, that seems like a understandable possibility there. That was Hillary going in there doing what she normally do. No, but I'm wondering what you're going to say, Gates, about this specific. I don't know. I mean, he's literally. I mean, what else could you say other than he's trying to like bury this? Like, that's why it's so dumb, because it's not as if this is something new with our politics. Like, of course, they want to skirt the issue and they want to, be a politician, never answer a question, all that kind of shit. But he's literally, there's so little finesse and subtlety to his tact that he's just like, no, let's not talk about it, please, guys, no. Please, no. And then we got Sandor. You said you weren't going to bring that up anymore. God, just move on. In reality, Israel has American Jews, Russian Jews, and both of them are attempting to make both of us have nuclear Armageddon. Imagining it will bring their Messiah. Yeah, fuck all that. Don't bring your Messiah on my behalf. You do all that shit on your own. You fucking fight your own goddamn wars. Build your own fucking temples. The Mossad connection isn't in itself surprising. What's important is who he was blackmailing and what these people did for Epstein. And that's a great point. Yeah, and his backers in return. It's true. So like the kind of the favors already possibly done. So that's a great point. And I guess that's kind of implicated in the people's concern for it, but those are more like kind of like, you know, that those are more maybe like things that we can look into, like where was the actual like universal or material impact. That's interesting. So Sandor says asking about Epstein is going to be conflated with so it's going to be literally illegal. Yeah, very soon. Just watch. No, that's true. I mean, where we're headed, honestly, it should. I mean, anti-Semitism basically is moving in the direction of just being illegal. Yes. That's what I've been pointed to. It's the true believers that have had their spirits captured. You can't avoid the issue of the third temple, man. It's what will mark the end times. No, I'm not trying to avoid the issue. If that's what it seems like, I'm not trying to avoid the issue of the third temple. I'm saying let's not fucking build the shit. I'm saying let's not bring the end times on personally. That's what I'm saying. Let's not go out of our way to like just cook up the end times. I'm not fucking preheating the oven for end times, you know? It's like when they come about, that'll be a, you know, I mean, I don't know. I know for some people it won't be a sad day, obviously, but yeah, I'm just not trying to bring it on.
Sure.
And your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. attorney, Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of his death?
Yeah, sure.
Could I just interrupt? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to.
That disgusting Jeffrey Epstein that had a fucking pedophile island for himself.
Be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
It's the quietest I've ever heard Trump and the longest I've ever heard him let somebody else speak. He's just like, yep, go ahead and handle all that, please. Oh, here, I put this up while the video was going. M said, at least the Antichrist won't be boring. And I mean, that's fair. And I think, honestly, I had another video for it. I don't know if we'll get to it, but it's been a consistent conversation we've been having in the chat as far as like, you know, who are the best candidates? Throw down some money on Polymarket. Most likely to be Antichrist. There's just so many good options nowadays that I feel like, how could we not be in the end times? You know, to a certain degree. Ultimately, we empower the people that are part of the most radical Ubermensch religion that want to secure an existence for their people in the Jewish homeland. So they got to do all this other crazy shit. Fair enough. Which, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, you could see that maybe. So if you're like engaging with it in very, very charitable good faith, you could say that is, and I know that is the purported goal, but you can see how that being the goal of the mission ends up when you start to think like a utilitarian in a way, and it's like the ends justify the means. How you may get involved in some stuff like this, and then to the point, I don't know who said it earlier, if it's fact checker M, I know one of you guys had mentioned something about like the economy would collapse in 72 hours or something like that. So maybe that's how you get to that point, is going along this kind of train of thought of we're doing this because the ends justify the means, so on and so forth, and you get so intertwined and connected to your fucking business dealings that here we are, you know, and you're fucking covering up pedophilia. So then we have here, M said, yeah, Talmudic master race ideology. And then Sandor says the Zios hand over the state quietly with like South Africa did. Just fucking take all this fucking shit. I'm tired of fucking managing it. Ironically, what the Nazis believed, a state for a specific people. That's how every single state should be. You go here, and you go here. Oh shit, that's fucking segregation, apartheid, all of it. So Sandor says there will be a B equals. Oh, okay, yeah. Let off probably. I mean, it seems like we're kind of running quickly in that direction. I mean, I guess technically already missiles were launched by America. And I did not have sex with that woman. Wasn't that though? Wasn't that fun when that was the lies? Not that they weren't also fucking killing people behind the scenes. We know they were, but just holy smokes. I mean, really, I guess when you're talking about those being the issues and then them actually not, you're talking about a time period where we were just even more locked into the matrix and just thought, yeah, no, the president's probably not getting his dick sucked by every fucking secretary in the White House. Of course he fucking is. But of course that doesn't happen anymore. False saviors are not a hard concept to understand. No, that's true. Nostradamus predicted the Antichrist would be in the East and educated in the West. I can think of somebody very interesting. Yes. You're talking about Mr. Netanyahu. And Gates open here says he was close to Tampa General. The ambulance came to get him. They said they got him back. What the hell are you talking about right there, brother? This is the end of the empire. Idiots in charge. It's literally Dunning-Kruger effect on display. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. When you have people in these positions, these fucking idiots are running the country. And like even Pam Bondi here, like you really think like that's the defense? You had a while now. You had like a day to come up with a better fucking excuse than this to justify the fact you've misspoken, I guess, is like what you're running. That's crazy. Bill Clinton killed the last of any social democratic movement in America. Fair enough. From being a neolib, fucking neolib scumbag, fucking bastard. Only thing me and him have in common is we both enjoy fellatio as a thing, receiving it, and also doing it to a beautiful woman. To be clear, we do not agree on neoliberalism. What the fuck, buddy? Keep us out of the Middle East, you asshole. What the hell were you doing? Couldn't you just sit there and get your dick sucked? You had to simultaneously, while fucking sexually harassing the interns in the office, you had to also fucking be an asshole. momentarily, but he didn't make it. I had to go get his vehicle, and okay, I have no clue what you're talking about. I think I might have missed something. Oh, you're talking about a vaccine. mRNA vaccines are the ones taking people out. I mean, I feel like I honestly, maybe some of what you said got caught up in the filters. You know, that does happen. I don't know exactly how to see comments that they haven't let go, but I have no idea what the fuck. That press secretary is an idiot. I speak loud and fast, and I am smart. No videos of her, please. Yeah, it's just not whack off material at this hour. I get it. Hillary is Talmudic, coded, bro. Succubus tier. Poor Bill. I mean, somebody has sucked the soul out of that poor man. I mean, he is literally deflated in his older age, but we'll all get there eventually. But hopefully we're just not allowing our soul to completely be deteriorated from the inside, you know. But he looks like an example of that. But that was that. Gates, you kind of avoided really, you know, tangling with the, I don't know, the fucking blunt force that Trump approached that with, completely just telling them, let's not talk about it at all. I really would have liked to have heard you address that, but then you started talking about fucking ambulances and mRNA vaccines. The last one was stupid and wouldn't answer any questions. She knew Biden wasn't the one running the country. Yeah, no, she was terrible as well. Monica Lewinsky, pizza poem read by JFK Jr. Yeah, I'll have to come back through here and write these down because I can't pull up videos. And Gates, you were able to do this, so I'll have to get with you. I don't know why I have an issue doing that because we had a lot of the same equipment, but I can't play videos directly through the internet while I'm streaming. I have to pull them ahead of time. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong or what the issue is there, but if you can at any point help a brother out with that, that'd be amazing. Jews are a diaspora and they're extremely exclusive. That's how you end up with compromised governments bowing to Israel. And I don't know if I read that out loud or not. Another must-watch video, Monica Lewinsky, pizza poem read by JFK Jr. Very interesting. I heard one say Obama is the Antichrist. Who knows, man? That's totally possible. They're probably all the Antichrist, for fuck's sake. Let's see what else I got here for us to dig into tonight. There's a reason they don't count you as a Jew if your mother isn't. Men often stray. They don't want just anybody. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's interesting. I did know that you're not considered a Jew unless your mom was a Jew, but that kind of rationalization as to why they would do that, I honestly hadn't considered. So very interesting. Trying to see if we have anything else related to this specifically before we skedaddle on past the I guess this kind of like indirectly.
We're going to have a lot of great results, so it's great to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to express the appreciation and admiration not only of all Israelis, but of the Jewish.
So here, I'm going to even rewind it so we can get the full grasp of the situation. But I do want your guys' opinion. Does Bibi Netanyahu not sound like a fucking villain? I don't want to say super villain because fuck that guy. But just listen to him and his voice. I mean, come on now. If you're an actor in Hollywood and you're working on a voice for a new Marvel character, I have the perfect inspiration. This motherfucker in his creepy ass register. Where is he talking from?
We're going to have a lot of great results, so it's great to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to express the appreciation and admiration not only of all Israelis, but of the Jewish people and many, many admirers around the world for your leadership of the free world, your leadership of a just cause, and the pursuit of peace and security, which you are leading in many lands, but now especially in the Middle East. We have great opportunities. The President has an extraordinary team, and I think our teams together make an extraordinary combination to meet challenges and seize opportunities.
Deadly duo.
But the President has already realized great opportunities. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country and one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
There you go, brothers. How do you feel about that? Shit nominated vomit for the Peace Nobel's Prize. How do we feel about that one? There's a reason they don't. Yeah, that is interesting. Let's see here. There are more Israeli flags in the White House and Congress than in all of Israel. Brother, we go hard for that. We go hard for that country. He knows how to play Trump like a fiddle. I agree with that. There was another interview that we watched on here a couple lives ago, and he was just the whole time. He's like, I'm Trump's junior partner in this, and just the wording, everything you could tell, it's all like so manipulative. And you know, I mean, obviously, I don't think you can argue with the results. I think the results would show you it's been extremely persuasive to Trump. Yeah, he needs to be a villain. Without experiencing the worst tribulations, the Jewish Messiah won't arise. He leads them to victory against all their enemies. Well, I mean, good fucking luck. Right now, their biggest enemy is themselves, I think. So, I mean, the fucking Jewish Messiah needs to come and fucking wrestle Netanyahu for control over the fucking country so they can stop wilding out. Show a little bit of fucking grace. That whole Iran thing was so peaceful. Yeah, I mean, it was the entire, and I mean, the escalation of it too. And then the applauding our own de-escalation of what we had escalated to begin with. Fucking insane. Wiggy says if he wins, it's a joke. And that's a good thing. Once these accolades are exposed for what they are, people will never think for themselves. I agree. War is peace, ignorance is strength, slavery is freedom. It's the opposite day every day. And honestly, I mean, yeah, that's at the end of the day, literally, what can you even say about it? It's like when you're seeing this kind of, it's out in the front. There's no remorse. There's no dissension at this point. That's one of the things that are most concerning with this administration. I think like any kind of diversity of thought is completely smothered out, and yeah, it's completely discouraged. I mean, just get ran out of time. Get ran out of town. Oh, well, yeah, it fucking applies. It applies, and it's apt to our current situation, brother. Of course, absolutely. So I don't know. I mean, partially, I have some hope because I do think this is so out front that you can't help but like people just have to completely willfully be ignorant to continue to look at this and say that it's not corruption on levels that we basically have never seen. And I just don't think there's a lot of people that on MAGA that I think will have the, I don't know. I don't want to, is it integrity? Is it just self fucking respect to say like, no, I can't be complicit in this like blatant sham, this blatant lie. At the very least, if quality of life was going to go down and even that, you know, I don't even know if they were really expecting like a severe drop in quality of life, but I do think like there's a level of like the immigration issue that just doesn't resonate with a large group of MAGA, and they're just like, fuck it, they're illegals, they need to go, that's what it is, and see it as a very one-dimensional issue. And there's a few other issues like that I think you get full buy-in from MAGA, like this Epstein issue in a way where it's like when they were able to use it as a tool because it hadn't been exposed, which it still hasn't been exposed, but at the point where we thought it might, maybe they would expose it, or at least they got people to buy into that. They're able to use that as that tool where it's like fully buy in with us because they don't want to release these things. They want to continue to cover this shit up and so on and so forth. So now the gig is up on that. That was something that people were full on bought into for MAGA and from the MAGA perspective, and built an identity around. I mean, fucking, they're going and fucking filling out theaters of movies, that independent films or whatever the fuck, that about stopping child trafficking and shit. So it's like there was a real culture. A lot of MAGA's culture was kind of built around resisting that, because it's just such a fucking unanimous cause that anybody can get behind. You even put the opposition, so you put the liberals in the case where now they're kind of like arguing from a standpoint of like, I'm not a pedophile. You know what I mean? So it's like you end up putting them on their back foot, where that's like framing that they have to ward off. So it's very effective in that way. But then now that, the light has been shined on them being complicit in the cover up, it's not so easy just to wave it away and say, are you guys serious? We're really talking about this? Come on. The whole point of you getting into office was for more transparency and more the government working for the individual more. Was that the big lie? But so, I mean, I think for the people that really believe that and have any kind of critical thinking left, I think, this is something clear and just right in your face. And it's interesting because Gates Open, it doesn't sound like you're really there with this, but you had mentioned earlier that you would be completely out if he ended up doubling down on the vaccine support. So, I mean, either way, even though that's something I kind of think that's silly from my own perspective, but if there are those kind of like red line issues, I think they've put themselves in a no-win scenario at this point. Like, this was just silly. I mean, but people in the comments earlier, they did point out like, hey, I mean, if it's a decision that you literally can't make, if it's a decision that you would be committing political suicide, then I guess you're like, hey, if you're just fucked either way, then I guess you just try to do a little bit of damage control. I don't know. I mean, but I don't have any goddamn sympathy for these fucking people. Let's be clear. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, and it was their final, most essential command in 1984. This is playing out in real time. How do you feel about that coming from your perspective? Somebody that's not American, and then so you're seeing it, from a distance, but then, I also wonder how much you're considering the impact that it could have on your life. I don't know. I'm curious from that perspective. Wiggy says, it's Christianity that I think is ultimately to blame. It strips away people's will to power. Interesting. It also advocates for an individual relationship with God, not technically bad, but it creates sheep. Yeah. I mean, I'd really have to seriously consider that from specifically a Christianity being responsible framing. But I mean, I do agree that I think that religion in general are just basically power systems created to, create obedience like a sheep, like you're saying. So, I mean, I do agree with that. And I agree it's weaponized often by rulers or countries, whatever. And for that purpose. So I totally agree with that kind of like insidious nature to religion in general. So and then Sandor says, what's your PSN handle? So I will have to honestly figure that out because I don't play online a lot, so I don't 100% remember what it is. I'll have to look at my PlayStation in the house before I hop off here or whatever. I'll check that. I think it's so I'm pretty sure it's this. Pretty sure it's Baby J 007. Because my name's James, so you see what I did there. But yeah, if not, I had an old gamer tag that I used to use. It's just I honestly I don't play online games as much, but I did download the free version of I downloaded the free Diablo. I made that available. That's something I slept on for many years and didn't play. So I need to put a little party of companions together to play that. And then just, I mean, I play games though. We can definitely make it happen, brother. I'd love to get on there and chop it up with you. So M says there's Jews who are, and if you look that up and somebody pops up, I'd say just go for it and fucking add them. I'm pretty sure that's mine. Sandor, by the way. And anybody that wants to chop it up on PlayStation, feel free. I put it in the chat, so don't be shy. All good people here. It's about time. There's Jews who are well aware of the pagan Malachian influence, and to be fair, it has subverted other faiths and people. There's Catholics aware of the Pope. The Pope was a commie, another form of Malachism. Okay, I'll have to definitely tap in on that, brother. You're talking some shit. How I feel? Well, shit rolls downhill. You're our ally. It eventually gets to us in some shape or form. Yeah, that's true. So I just wonder, like, I mean, it really feels, I would say, as a American living in the system as it currently stands, and just talking to people around my age, and people much older, but definitely people around my age, there's like a sort of apathy in reference to the government and just a general pessimistic attitude, which maybe isn't a bad thing. Maybe that is something where it's like, that's maybe where you have to get to before there's people that are really willing to undertake a change and willing to undertake the sacrifices that going through that change are going to ask. You know, there are no free lunches, as Republicans say. It's about time. I'm not sure what you're saying about time too, though. Well, next Christmas, the White House won't be in rainbow colors. But do you see why it's like, who gives a fuck about that, Gates? Again, like, when you consider the other shit that we're talking about, it's like, do you really think that, well, gosh, the White House isn't going to have rainbow colors shined on it? Is that really the win that we were looking for? Honestly. No, I agree with that. They're legally imprisoning people. No, of course. Well, I mean, but I think, look, you even kind of see that. I mean, when you're Gates, God bless you, brother, but you know, they're legally imprisoning people, they're legally deporting people. And I don't know what you're doing on your end, but I see a lot of people even praising that, especially the deportation. The people are like, hell yeah, fucking round them up, put them in fucking alligator Alcatraz. That sounds fun. Here's merch. Like, even the fact that, imagine if our government, like, think about how much of a fucking dystopian it sounds like. And I'm not trying to make the one-to-one correlation here, but just as a thought experiment. Imagine that the government during Guantanamo Bay height, which is still obviously a thing, but you know, during its height, imagine that they're like, you know, we're going to sell merch for this. This is a popular idea, even though people were super against super against terror, and they were a lot of people that bought into the war on terror. Even then, you would have a hard time getting people to agree to, like, the shit that happened at Abu Ghraib, for example. Like, they hid that. It wasn't like a situation where it's like, we want to put that to the forefront. All right, look how tough we are on illegal immigrants. It's like, if they run, they'll be eaten alive. You want to buy some merch to commemorate that? It's like, oh, what? Okay. I guess, yes, actually. Sweet merch. They're good at marketing. What else can you say? Leaders taking the flock in the wrong direction under the pretense it's their own best interests. Certain factions of Islam, the biggest culprit. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's absolutely fair. And I think that is what you're seeing. I think, you know, you could just track history. I mean, track religion throughout history and different versions of Christianity and like how they came to be, and other religions, I'm sure. Christianity being the one I'm most familiar with myself. And just kind of like see that it's a different group of people that got their hands on these teachings or whatever. And they're like, okay, how can I go ahead and take this and put this into action within my own community or my own region and use it as a way to gain influence, honestly. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do about the original teachings themselves when you say that, but generally, yeah, it isn't. It's just interesting. So Sandor says Trump is shaking the jingly, shiny keys, and Gates is totally hooked on the keys. Yeah, Gates, you got to really because every time we're talking about this shit, you're talking about, look, hey, it's the red meat argument. It's like, here's all this shit going on. The house is on fire. There's a fucking delicious steak like what I had earlier. And we're not gonna let fucking trans women compete in sports. Hip hip hooray. I'm being fucking sent off to a concentration camp. Oh shit. Republics by their nature are diverse and operate by traditional and culture. Democracy by its nature promotes homogenous populations and is about individual freedoms. It's truly an IQ thing with people like Gates. You have to be smart enough to realize you're not smart enough. What a way to just lay that out there, brother. Gates, come in here. You're getting fucking stomped on the ground by Sandor right now. Sometimes you don't even realize when you've been thrown into a battle of fates here. But let's hear the response. I mean, like I said, you are beating around the bush all night, bro. We're talking about shit. Here's this other one. You're like talking about Biden. Oh, I heard Obama was the Antichrist. What about now, brother? Obama's fucking men and making Netflix series. And we can talk about that on its own. Nothing like our party's namesake today. Fair enough. It's true. No time for stupidity. Yeah. Sandor, that's fair. And I mean, some shit, yeah, is just past just even being reasonable. It's you are willfully being ignorant, therefore being complicit in just giving the game up. You know, like there should be more resistance than this. Honestly, that's the sad part. Let's see what we got to talk about before we shut it down. We are vibing. That would be cool to just keep it running, but
Ron, you say you're not.
I think we got to get into this before we shut down for sure. So this right here, and you already told me, Sandor Wiggy. I'd be curious your opinion on this, brother. Funding Studio A24 or A24, who made the movie Civil War and various other globalist propaganda. They put out some good flicks for sure that I've seen. I didn't watch Civil War, and that's interesting that's kind of like pre-programming. Like, get used to what you're about to fucking see. This is going to be your life soon. Sandor, how often are you going to watch somebody pee on the toilet seat before you get mad? For me, one time. Now, I don't have a son, so I imagine if you have a son, you have a little bit more patience with that, but this fucking country is not your son, okay? And either way, it needs to stop pissing all over the fucking toilet. That's heinous. At least clean it up on your own. Seriously.
Many Americans are afraid of Iran. You say you're not afraid, but Americans are afraid of Iran. And they believe that Iran would like to strike the United States with a nuclear weapon. They see video of Iranians saying death to America, describing our country as the great Satan. What is your opinion of that? Should we be afraid of Iran?
I believe that this is a very wrong impression that anybody might have of Iran or the Iranians. I would like to remind you that Iran has never invaded another country in the last 200 years. When they say death to the United States, it doesn't mean death to, they don't mean death to the people of the United States or even to the officials of the United States. They mean death to crimes, death to killing and death to supporting killing others, death to insecurity and instability. This is, have you ever heard that an Iranian killing an American? Have you ever heard that? Or a terrorist that was Iranian and he carried out a terrorist attack against the Americans? No, it was your president who confessed that the Americans created the ISIS in our region, and they were responsible for this wrong image that is portrayed of religion or the Muslims in the world. And once again, I would like to tell you and remind you that this is not death to the American people or to the officials. Death to crimes and atrocities, to bullying, to the use of force, and anybody who would like to become an accomplice in the crimes perpetrated by others.
Two Iranian.
So anybody wants to get in the comment and discuss that at all, I think that's just this really interesting topic that I had probably like a week ago now when we were talking to Cody on here, and Cody is a vet. We appreciate Cody for that. This is one of the things that he mentioned where he's like, hey, you see over there, they're saying, you know, death to America and all those kind of things. It's like, well, one thing we have to consider is one, where is that born out of? And we have to take a little bit of accountability if we want to come to terms on something that's going to make sense for all of our countries and just the world. And we have to understand that, yeah, that's not completely coming from no place. We don't have to agree with that. We don't have to personally sign on to co-sign that sentiment about ourselves. Of course, we wouldn't do that. But at the same time, we do have to understand where that comes from and our responsibility in fostering those kind of beliefs. Like that's just being good faith. And that's if you want to come to a negotiation table and really come to some agreement that just makes sense and people can agree upon, you have to be honest about what we're talking about to begin with. And you know, these are Iran right now, to be honest, what it feels like is Iran is, and I don't mean this to sound like sympathetic to the regime of Iran in any way, but it's like they're in a way like similar to Israel's relationship with Gaza in this way. And it's not the same way that Israel has a blockade and, you know, it's a concentration camp and they control their power and things like that. But what I mean by that is a less literal kind of mapping on of the two scenarios and more of just like a court of public opinion and how this is playing out. It's like we are losing the PR battle to Iran, rightfully so, because I'm an American and I can look at it objectively and I can say, look, I think that we're doing wrong in this entanglement, in this conflict that we're having here. We're being unnecessarily aggressive and inciting the situation. And I know that the officials in this country, they don't give a fuck about that and they ignore that. But I think the sentiment that I'm expressing is much more common with the average person and the average American. So, and I'm sure if that's the case, then it's probably extremely common with people outside of our country and how they're viewing us. And it's just like, you can no longer claim the moral high ground with how we're conducting ourselves globally. And that's not a new thing or anything, but like I said, in this situation the information is just so clear and out there and, you know, it's just indefensible. It's just indefensible. How often are you going to watch? Yeah, agreed. They're pissing all over the toilet. I prefer being known as people who treat prisoners in accordance with international law. Why give our enemies anything to use against us? Bush and Hillary and Obama era made us look foolish. No, I completely agree with you. I think agreeing to treat our enemies with some level of dignity, that's not a weakness. And to still live up to our own principles, it's not a weakness. It could be inconvenient, but I don't personally see it as a weakness in the long game. If we would have came in and actually shown some diplomatic ability in this scenario and brought some of these wars to a close, like what Trump was promising, I mean, you see just with our own domestic population how persuasive that argument is to say that you're going to end wars and all that. There's no stomach for that at this point. So people are not interested in waging these like offensive wars against populations that are defenseless, like in the case of Gaza. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. And then you said made us look foolish. And then America overthrew their democratically elected government and installed a dictator. What would Americans say if that happened to them? We'd be fucking sour about it. We'd be big time sour about that if it happened. No, but we wouldn't stand for it. You're 100% right. We wouldn't even though there is foreign interference in a way with our elections. Gates, if you're here, I'm trying to call you out here. You want to come back? foreign interference. But yeah, because there is foreign influence into our politics and things like that. And even that, for people that are aware of it, it makes their blood boil. So to your point, if, this became the case, yeah, people would feel like they lost their country, which they would be correct that they lost their country if that happens. Works both ways. We want them to treat us well, don't we? 100%. No, I agree with you, M. And I think, when we start to have these attacks on like Iran, for example, to prevent them from getting the nuclear weapons, or it's like, what is more motivation to complete this nuclear weapon than fucking threatening to go to all-out war with them? It's like, if there was any kind of consideration of it, I think you just made the decision for them. Americans do not care. They literally think everything outside of a foreigner's mouth is a lie. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably fair. Sandor says, and the reason America did it because Iran wanted to nationalize their oil for themselves and their people. Americans need an education. Yeah. Case in point, Putin literally listens to him. He tells you his shit outright. Every thinks is a bluster or lie or loaded. Okay, I went down here to see if you corrected that, but I don't. So Persians would have been on their own path to democracy without Israel pushing in and claiming to be the ones who brought them to peace. And that was from M. Sandor here says they had democracy until America overthrew their government. And Iran is a republic. They vote. They have a line between church and state. That's the only difference between our republic and theirs. They don't have a line between. Okay, so you're saying they don't have a line between church and state. That's the only thing. Yeah, I'm dumb, but I know what a woman is. You brought it back, brother. Fuck yeah. Came back with an uppercut, Sandor. Handle that. Do you even know what a fucking pussy is, buddy? Do you? This man has a wife, Gates. He knows what a woman is, brother. Oh, look. Surprise Pikachu face, America. Yeah, shit, that's me right now. According to doctors, I'm not supposed to be here, but God saved me. They gave up on me, the doctors. Told my wife I was an empty shell. And he is not an empty shell anymore. He is a full vessel. Full of the power of God and support for Trump. Those are the only two things in that shell at this point. It's 100% for God. It's also 100% for Trump at the same time, 200%. He's more of a man than he ever was. Let's get back to Tucker here. And I'm curious, by the way, Sandor, you already let me know how you feel about it. I'm curious if anybody here has an issue with Tucker speaking to the Iranian president at a time where we have kind of like an open conflict with them. I still consider it, honestly, an open conflict. I don't consider it a closed door because I think we haven't seen the end of it. There was no real closure there. No, he's a donut filled with Trump's creamy jelly. Ooh, what an alliteration there. Quite beautiful. But yeah, I'm curious if anybody has any issues with Tucker Carlson speaking to somebody that we're openly in conflict with. Obviously, previously spoke to Putin, and I've just seen this kind of criticism to him before. Obviously, Sandor said earlier, he's like, this is what journalists do. This is their purpose. And I do think, just to lay my own cards out there, I think from the perspective of somebody who is a civilian in a country in conflict with him, it's like, yeah, I like to see, like, what is the true messaging? I shouldn't say true, but what at least is their messaging outwardly, and let me kind of critically take that and run that through my own filter of understanding and come to whatever conclusion I come to with it. As an adult, I can handle it. It's not going to like radicalize me to fucking support Iran by any means. So it's like, trust the citizenry. Why would we shut that down and be like, no, you can't even fucking Sic Semper Tyrannis. He is our poor man's diplomat. That's true. It's funny. Yeah, Tucker Carlson is the only guy out here doing fucking diplomacy. What the hell? Journalists are supposed to report the news, not tell us the news. Putin called him CIA to his face, though. So take that for what you will. Oh, by the way, this is kind of off topic, but just because you said this earlier, Sandor, about the PlayStation, in case that's not the right, because my PlayStation is all the way in my house. So like, I hit me on like Twitter or Instagram if you have either of those. If you don't, then I'll like leave the stream at the end to go get it and figure out if I was right on the gamer tag or not. But I do want to make sure to get that to you, and I don't really have any way to talk to you past this. So just so you know, what's Iran's stance on PDFs? I mean, I think Iran's not completely just like any of these governments to a certain degree. I mean, they're entrenched with them. People who are powerful get away with. People who have money and are powerful, they hold influence. And in smaller countries, I don't want to say small countries, especially because our country is so bought and paid for as well. So it's like, I don't even want to come at it from that kind of like exceptionalist standpoint, because we're fucking as dirty as anybody else in reality. Just report back with it next stream. It's all good. Oh, brother, but you never know when the fuck that next stream will be, Goddamn. We might have some good gaming to get in between that. I don't know. I am going to try to go live either tomorrow or Thursday. I'm trying to get on a good schedule with it, so try to keep an eye out for me. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, right in the middle of the week. I'm going to try to make at least 2 of those days out of the 3 days I stream. So I check in with y'all 2 times out of the week at least, and then just. I'm going to try to get in as many bonus streams as I can as far as like family and work and, all the other shit permits it. But I enjoy, these are always very informative for me as well, broadening my perspective on whatever topics we decided to discuss. And I enjoy the back and forth for sure. So private defense force, ? Just report back. I got you on that. Pedophiles. I respect you trying to respect the stream too. I'm trying to respect this algorithm, but we already fucked that earlier in the stream. It's never. It was just not. It's not getting unfucked. We've talked enough about them. We got Epstein's List in the title, along with Trump. Fucking national security has already fucking flagged us, probably personally. Pam Bondi, we're on Pam Bondi's desk right now. Well, we know what the American government's thoughts are on pedophiles. Yeah, they're fucking really, they're into it. Yeah, we don't even send them back to Israel anymore. Yeah, exactly. And listen, back in the day when Roman Polanski was making fucking A1 films, I still would have told you then throw that motherfucker in prison. Fuck his films. At the end of the day, did we really need The Pianist? It's a beautiful film. It's heart-wrenching. Adrian Brody with a fucking masterclass. But no. Fuck no. Throw that motherfucker in prison where he belongs. Along with the rest of them, though. Not just Roman. So the Iranian Revolution was very similar to the French Revolution without the whole rejection of God thing. Yeah, they still were like, God's cool. The Iranian Revolution was a direct result of America's meddling. All revolutions are almost always influenced by foreign influence. Same for the French. I mean, that's fair to say, but specifically Sandor's highlighting the American influence, which is specifically relevant here with us, since we're Americans. What do you want? I know you're a proud Texan, brother. Not all revolutions are a result of foreign country removing a sovereign country's government because they wanted to keep their own oil. Yeah, at different times, though, I'm sure the resource that we're talking about may have been switched out for other resources.
Ayatollahs have issued fatwas against Donald Trump. What does that mean exactly, and what do you think of it?
To the best of my knowledge, they have not issued decrees or fatwas against any individual or against Donald Trump. And first off, it has nothing to do with the Iranian government or to His Eminence, the Supreme Leader of Iran. Or what they actually meant by the fatwa was in condemnation of an insult to a religion or religious personalities, and they were actually saying that this is deplorable, this is unacceptable. So it was not directed towards the U.S. president or any other individual, and there might be people with their own ideas and opinions, but I can assure you that the meaning of this fatwa should not be construed or considered as a threat against any individual.
Has Iran ever?
So real quick with that as well, I think one reason this is so powerful and important, I just want to point it out, is that one of the biggest tools that in all conflicts, but that our government has used to scare us from, partnering with any of these people in the Middle East and trying to find real peace and understanding there is, obviously the terror thing. They're terrorists. They'll kill themselves. They'll blow themselves up. They don't value life how me or you value life. They don't give a fuck about their kids. And where that element might exist within their civilization, as it exists within our own civilization, Western civilization, or, you have examples in all over. And as far as like people neglecting to consider their child's well-being and putting forth some kind of like ideology or whatever. But I think like through this entire conflict, one thing that I think if you're paying attention, you would notice is that Iran's worked in their own self-interest, with the focus being on self-preservation and not dying. So I think they have dispelled that rumor, and these kind of conversations I think are so powerful with dispelling that. You see, like, where, I want to be incredulous here, and I don't want to just like take the conversation hook, line, and sinker. But I think it just highlights, like, I mean, this guy is a leader of a country with a bunch of different influences and actors and things going on at the same time. But generally, like, is it a hard thing to imagine that like the average Iranian, working their fucking normal job, not day to day waking up, plotting like how do they overthrow the big Satan America? Like, is that hard to believe? Like, is it hard to believe that the number one thing on their mind, just like with us, is that I want to provide for my family. I want my family to have a happy life. I want my kids to have the best chance that I can provide for them to be successful and do whatever they want to do in their life. Like, is it really hard to believe that they're also considering those same things? I don't know. But that Sandor said, not all, okay, yes, sir. And then Iran said, Wiggy, not Iran. Wiggy is not Iran. But he is talking about Iran here. Iran was invaded in both world wars. Our influence started well before the revolution. We obviously lost most of our influence amongst the general population of Iran. And then we have here, Sandor said, you can be sure as the sun will rise tomorrow that Iran will get themselves no item sooner rather than later. Why wouldn't they now? No, absolutely. Well, I mean, and even like I said, if you follow that same line of thought that I was just going down a moment ago, where it's like, just because they want to have some kind of nuclear deterrent, and I mean, that kind of loads it. So if just because they want a nuclear weapon, does that mean that they intend to use it in some offensive manner? I mean, we know that Pakistan has a latent nuclear capability. So I'm just not as convinced of the propaganda that this is a society uniquely that we have to be afraid that because the whole idea is not that, okay, they're going to have nukes and they're going to hold on to those nukes and they have the ability to use those nukes. The fear that I think is being pushed through this kind of like war on terror scope is that they'll use it and they don't give a fuck about the deterrent. They don't give a fuck if you wipe them off the map. But I just would say that the way that they've interacted with us through these current conflicts, I think, kind of indicates the opposite, that, they are extremely concerned about maintaining some kind of order within their civilization. Why wouldn't they now? No, I totally agree, Sandor, on that. Wiki says they have the Russian nuclear umbrella. If nukes are used in Iran, there will be a Russian response. Okay, yeah, great point. Great point. And that should be added to this conversation. That's a wonderful point. It means Israel can't roll in with regime change. No, exactly. So, I mean, and after this entire situation, seeing how willing America is to step to the side or actually directly get engaged in this conflict, it's interesting to see, like, obviously how we respond in this scenario, and like how hands off we've tried to be throughout the Ukrainian and Russian conflict, and even the Gaza and Israel conflict, which obviously they didn't need help beating up on the prison camp.
Ever backed an assassination attempt against Donald Trump?
This is actually what Netanyahu is trying to insinuate and to make your people or the president of your country to believe. But this is wrong, because Netanyahu, as I said, has its own agenda. It wants to drag the U.S. into forever wars, as I said, and to bring more insecurity, instability, and unrest to the whole region.
There are some large number of Iranian nationals living in the United States. Some have said they are, quote, sleeper cells. They are terrorists who are acting at the command of your government. Would you right now make a statement to Iranian citizens living in the United States not to commit acts of violence in the United States?
You see, these things you're telling me, this is the first time I'm hearing them from you or from anybody. The Iranians are known for their knowledge, for their science, for their courtesy, for being civilized. Have you seen otherwise from them? Any other kind of behavior from them, or any violent behavior? Has anybody ever seen anything from them? Yeah, as I said, this is what Israel is trying to put into your minds. They are propagating that Iranians might be capable of doing such a thing, but this is totally untrue, because by nature Iranians are pro peace and tranquility, and they're trying to actually make to somehow impact the minds of the decision makers and the people of the United States, and to scare them into getting involved in a war in my region that is not going to ensure any kind of interest for the United States. It is not to be in the interest of the United States to be involved in any kind of war in my region.
It wasn't that long ago, it was during the revolutionary period in Iran, that Iran had relations with Israel and commercial relations with Israel. And
it's almost like we're agreeing with the president of Iran. Isn't that wild, guys? By the way, here, let me hit these comments real quick. Americans need to stop considering all of these as separate theaters of conflict. We are in a soft world war right now, and our resources are depleted. Our population discontent. I agree with that. That's an interesting way to look at it, as far as like, think about them all as like kind of interconnected within the same conflict. I think that's fair to say. Sandor here says, but remember, guys, they're 2 weeks away from having one. Shit, they should have already had one from fucking the last time you said that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy. For fucking... we watched a video on that where it's like since like the 90s, absolutely insane. But the thing is, the people that he's talking to, they're complicit. It's like the joke is on us. You know what I mean? Like both actors in the scenario, he's spewing this bullshit to people that know it's bullshit. They're not there to push back or cause any friction to what the bullshit lie is. They're there to kind of like, substantiate and give it their fucking their own fucking cosign by standing up and applauding and jerking off fucking genociders when they come to see us. Good to see you, sir. What the opposed? I mean, just all these fucking videos with, which I actually didn't pull all of them, but I watched several on the side, and you guys probably seen them as well. But during Netanyahu's visit, and like, there's questions directed towards Trump about like these certain conflicts, which granted, they are Israel's conflicts, I suppose, but it's American media asking Trump, like, hey, well, how do you plan on addressing this? And then he'll be like, that seems like a question for nobody better than Mr. Netanyahu. It's like, bro, you're fucking cucking out in a way that just should make all Americans fucking shed a red, white, and blue tear. What the opposing bloc intends is to stretch our financial resources to the absolute limit and cause a civil conflict and collapse that will bring about the recall of American forces abroad. Very interesting. This is the problem. I went and got this today, boys, and this shit, for some reason, it's not wanting to stay lit, and that's fucking devastating. Because last night I was missing this, and then now for it not to, I'm slow hitting it, so it's my fault. But just goddamn, it just sucks when that happens. U.S. intelligence literally said there was no sign that anything was destroyed, meaning the bunker busters was purely a political show. I agree with that, but I did hear some conversation. I don't remember the exact source, but basically that they were suggesting that even if they didn't destroy the actual nuclear material, that they would have compromised the facility enough to where they wouldn't be able to access said nuclear material. And I guess the idea is if they ever are trying to like unearth this nuclear material that's buried, they would just bomb the shit out of them again while they're trying to get it. But I mean, I agree that that's most likely not the case. And I also saw the reports that they had moved the nuclear material like a day or so previous to the attack. So, I'm not married either way. God forbid 4,000 American military bases get closed. Yeah, what would those people do? I mean, there are some countries in which, we subsidize their defense that might not love having to pay for that themselves. I'm not saying it's a bad thing for us as Americans, but a little place called Israel might not love that.
Reputedly bought weapons from Israel. What happened? How did that change? Who changed it and why, that relationship?
Israel itself is to blame because just look at what they have been doing in the last couple of years in Palestine, in Gaza. What Netanyahu has been doing, killing women and children, bombing schools and.
This is. I'm gonna let him get right back to it, but I do want to point that out. I think this is a really great point that people bring up with these kind of regimes that we're a little bit more just ignorant to in a way where they're just demonized, and they'll just be like, oh, Israel's the shining light, and Iran, they're fucking evil, and this and that, this and that, this and that. When it's like, in reality, like, look at what Israel is literally doing. So you can say, like, they would kill every Israeli if they could. If they would just give the hostages back, it'd be over tomorrow, but they'd kill every Israeli if they could. It's like, literally, though, what is Israel trying to do? Like, actually, in accomplishing. You know what I mean? Like, let's not get lost in the hypothetical. Wiggy says every republic starts fighting itself. Once it can't fight its external enemies, even when being invaded, sometimes won't reverse that internal conflict. No, I think that's fair, and I think like a lot of the groundwork around our politics has already been set as far as like creating this kind of like tension and this divisiveness between, like I said, you have people that are working class people that in all reality, if they're advocating for their best interest, they would be on the side of the people of their same class and not like this kind of like predatory class that's, fucking us. I mean, like, just it's like out in the open at this point. Sending our money over to fucking Israel to defend them so they can have free healthcare while people in this country, continue to rack up medical debt and all the other shit that comes from that. Every morning I deposit things in my toilet that give more to the world. Those crazy psyos. Yeah, I think it's just as a just the no harm principle. Just even if there's nothing necessarily good that's coming from that dump in the toilet, it's barely hurting anybody. I feel bad for your poor wife that has to enter the bathroom after that, but that's one person. And she chose
hospitals and civilian and residential areas. Nothing short of a full-scale genocide there. They have blocked the entry of food and medicine, any kind of humanitarian relief to Gaza. So this has adversely impacted the way my country and the whole region looks at Israel. And this, their own behavior and their own actions are to blame, because this is unacceptable what they have been doing in my region. And as far as I know, we have never received any kind of weapon from Israel. And I would like to tell you, even at that time, we did not want to have weapons. We did not want to have wars. We did not want to fight the Iraqis. It was the war that was imposed on us. And just like the way that this war was imposed on us by the Israeli regime, we did not attack Israel. They attacked us.
Can you imagine
before we get into this next thing he's going to ask him, there's not too much left on this. It's actually kind of a shorter interview, unless you might have some more of it behind the paywall. I did pick it up a little bit into the interview because I really wanted to specifically talk about the whole death to America idea, and whether or not that's justification for us to, once again, like the idea of violence is enough of a reason to go to war with countries. Is just something that I just can't even begin to understand. So not just free healthcare, bro. They get free houses and shit. Everything is free in motherfucking Israel. Yeah, no, that's I saw some shit actually to do with that today. I was reading a little thing about settlers in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem or whatever. They were being provided housing and shit. It's like, yeah, it's disgusting. When we think about things like, I have a video I don't know if we'll end up getting to, it had to do with the vets. It's like when you talk about, we have a huge portion of our veterans that not only are fucking homeless, but also are suffering from illnesses that they struggle to get, reasonable care for. And that's something we're cutting back even more. You're talking about free fucking housing and shit. It's like we sit here and squabble over shit kids that go to public school get fed for free. It's like, come on. Have priorities. That's what my dad would say. My dad would say, fucking have priorities, son. What the fuck are you doing? Got your head up your ass. As long as we have an economy that profits from war, we will have wars. Simply put, brother. And I think you are correct with that. As long as we're following profit motives, and it's just so much sicker than that. Even it's tough. Israelis literally get free housing, free education, free everything. I say free. It's subsidized by American contributions. No, your point still stands. It's free for them. That's what it should be for Americans. If we can help, if we can afford that. And that's when you get into your, kind of like nationalist bag, which I respect and I understand. I think that is a valid viewpoint to have. And I like interlocking on that topic specifically, because I have a lot of common ground with you on that. And I'm not going to sit here and say that you're convincing me to become a Nazi or not. In parentheses, National Socialist, not a fucking follower of Hitler. I'm not going to be throwing on the Hugo Boss anytime soon. Don't get it twisted. Do not clip this. But I think there's some real validity to it, and I think we're at a kind of point, a little bit of a flashpoint in our society, I think, where it's difficult because we actually still have quite a long time with Trump. So it's like we're not towards a point to where we can make really radical change on the federal level. But we do have primaries that'll come up. We'll, definitely something that I'm looking to get involved in, and that'll be a good time. And I think it's going to be an important time. I think it'll be interesting to see the energy in America. I'm hoping to see more of a sort of class consciousness come to the forefront. And I don't mean necessarily even as a full-on push towards something that looks like communism. Definitely not saying that for any of my brothers any of my libertarian brothers. But yeah, I mean, something where we start moving towards a model of what America is that actually serves the people, which I think is actually more in line with the initial idea of what the country should be. Just from like a base level. I mean, there's of course always things in doctrine that you could get into to say, interpret in one way or another. So I mean, I think that's completely fair. But at least I think that the modern interpretation of what the kind of idea of that is the most ideal version. And we have had the debate on this podcast, and I'm interested in your guys' opinion on this, is there is this feeling that some people have that America is supposed to be representative of some kind of ideal. And then there's other people who are maybe more pragmatists where they're like, it's a country. It's a country. It's a business. Make money, don't make money, profits and losses. Like, where I'm just curious, like where necessarily do you fall in that? And I think it's a worthwhile kind of like thought experiment. I think that people aren't taking on, I think sometimes when they're just playing the political game. It's like, well, what are the actual results and end game for when you end up putting a guy like Trump in the office and what we're seeing right now? And like I said, not to say that shit was not fucking, I think it's disgusting that the fucking Democrats were going to turn around and run Biden and were willing to do that until it was like absolutely forced upon them. And then they ended up getting the same result anyways. But if Biden would have ran, it would have been an absolute fucking embarrassment. And it was just a sham, and it was a embarrassment to all of the sacrifices that people had made up until this point in our history to allow this even to happen, this moment to even happen. It's like they shit on that legacy. And the fact that they shit on the office to the point to where, you're willing to put a fucking civilly convicted rapist in the office, or definitely not on a list that doesn't exist. Obviously not. I can't believe some of that was a Trumpers. Like I said, I have seen some come around on it, but you do have to look kind of crazy at, like, you really thought that there was no fucking connection? Like, was it not the most obvious fucking puzzle you've ever seen in your life? I'm talking about a 4-piece puzzle. Honestly. Wiggy says the people may argue where that profit goes, but you can convince people to go to war if they win something from it. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's some kind of justified cause, like with 9/11, when I've had this kind of theoretical conversation with people where it's like, okay, well, what if, because I'm anti-war. It's almost like I almost can't imagine a scenario where I'm like, okay, going to war is the thing that makes the most sense in this scenario. But then you get into obviously the absolute extreme. Well, what if people are attacking, the country directly? Well, then yes, I understand that. Like I said, a defensive war in some way where you could justify it in that framing, but justifying an offensive war, I just don't really understand it. Justifying some kind of preemptive strike in the way that we did without really any kind of like concrete evidence. It's just like the negativity that comes from that, the fallout from the decision that you made and the action that you made and the attack on the sovereign country, the precedent that you set going forward in a time where, think about it like this, think about it in a smaller situation. So we have the Trump presidency. So you have the warfare or lawfare that, Democrats may have been participating in, and I think it's fair to criticize them on that. So what comes of that? Obviously, what we're seeing now, you see the response. You see the response ends up being that you have the same lawfare being taken place or being enacted with the Trump admin, and even to maybe a heightened degree. So, and imagine if Joe Biden didn't fucking pardon every single person he ever fucking ate ice cream with, then it's like we'd probably see a lot more of these witch hunts. But so once you set that precedent, you show like, hey, we're stepping out of the bounds of the game kind of expands with you. People are going to do it. Like, it just is what it is. So you're going to attack us on within our borders, fly jets into our fucking country and drop bombs and then celebrate it afterwards. It's crazy. I don't know. But let's get into these comments because I don't want to miss any of your guys' insight here. Wiggy says, it's kind of why the story of Achilles is supposed to be beautiful. It's only about one thing to Achilles: immortality and not being a slave to fate. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a great fucking Troy. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, Brad Pitt killed that shit. Let's just talk about that for a second. But no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, because he makes the decision with all of the information. So typically in these kind of like tragic stories, our hero doesn't really have it all laid out. Like, hey, you make this decision, you die. You make this decision, it's going to be all good. And for him, the cost wasn't too great. And so great point. Yeah, interesting. Sandor says, I just sent a friend request to that tag. If it was you, the request will be from a Roman. Don't say the tag out loud if you check. Okay, I definitely won't. Yeah. Could you imagine Gates Open Media hitting you up in the fucking PlayStation Plus chat? Yeah, motherfucker. Trump 2030. Trump 2088. Put that motherfucker on life support. They tried to off Trump. It's like JFK. Everyone would have seen it on TV. Yeah, but who's they? You know what I mean? When you say they, who is that? And I mean, the reality is Trump is in control now, or he's not. Regardless, even if he's not, he's complicit in just going along with the bullshit. Maybe they tried to off him. He got in office, and they say, "Yeah, don't try that bullshit. You're in office now, motherfucker. So do what you're fucking told, because we will do some crazy shit. So play along." And then he's like, "Yeah, we'll fucking bomb Iran." I love the Persians. Fucking okay, bomb them. Fuck it. Wiggy says America has never fully felt war outside our Civil War. And if you're from the South and know where to look, you can still find the scars from that war. It was a slaughterhouse. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I spent a decent amount of time in the South. Originally I was from Indiana, but I moved around quite a bit, so I've lived in several states. But you're totally right. And I think that even when you think about how heavy even the memory of that weighs on our country, you can understand, how significant that is. Yeah. So, I mean, I totally agree. And that's something I think to consider. And I think that's why it's best to abstain from it. You can intellectualize from the outside. Do we really need to experience some kind of like horrific war on our own soil to understand war not good and just avoid it unless it's a situation where it's involves some kind of like imminent threat and self-preservation? I don't think that's a low bar to ask, So Gates Open says that's what Trump wants to build a dome like that other country. We're talking about Israel and their Iron Dome, which is not a dome, by the way. I don't believe, brother. So I'm not gonna be arrogant here, and I'm not gonna just say straight up it's not a dome. I'm gonna respect you here, but I think that's a missiles program, and so yeah, not an actual dome over Israel. Although they may want one of those now, because they ended up having when Iran was shooting at them, some of that shit was actually getting through for real. So it's like it wasn't like fucking Luffy the pirate sending shit over from Lebanon. It was they had some other shit. I have bricks from an old Confederate fort. Oh, that was cool. That was near the mouth of the Rio Grande. It's washed away now. That's really cool. I mean, in Texas, you have a ton of history as far as wars between America and Mexico, which I'd love to go visit some of those sites. Texas is actually a state I haven't gotten out to, so I'd love to come out there. Now I know I got a friend over there. I got a place to stay. So Jay says, I think this is a push for Saudi to become the Middle Eastern. Oh, okay, hegemony, and let's see, and Iran is the only Shia majority country in the Middle East. Therefore, they are the weakest link. Even the Taliban hate the Iranians. Yeah, that's definitely for sure interesting insight. They, them. Yeah. I think it's only one people I should be thinking about whenever they is ever used, or them. I don't know. A shitload of World War II vets might disagree. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to on that. If it's something I said, brother, I don't know. And I recognize I've been talking for a little bit, so that's my bad. But I appreciate that. And then Gates Open Media says, yeah, it's the deep state. He has to drown the swamp. There's some still there. Yeah, there's no doubt there's some still there. Like, think about, the fucking president, brother, himself. Like, for you to think that he's not involved in the fucking whatever this fucking swamp metaphor entails is hilarious. The man is knee deep in the shit in the swamp. We literally he's part of starting this fucking alligator Alcatraz in the swamp. Bro's a swamp. He's a fucking swamp creature, brother. Let's be honest. Not a swamp thing, but a swamp creature, because we like Swamp Thing. Let's see here. So the division in our country right now is scary. You can see the House divided, split still. I agree with that, Jay, but I think there is a little bit of coming together between some reasonable people who were Trump supporters, and I think there's a lot of Democrats who are disenchanted and kind of like they've defected a little bit from the party. So it really is up to, at this point, and I'm not hopeful of this, but the Democratic Party has an opportunity to run somebody. Hopefully they don't try to run a Bill Clinton, which I'm sure they will. Somebody who's they'll do like what they were trying to do with Kamala, and rather than like really leaning into what about their party is really makes the policies persuasive to a working class person, they leaned away from that. There was less conversation around having things like free healthcare and things, and they were more like, hey, look, we have Liz Cheney here, and like, we're not going to sell you guys out, Israel, we're still going to be involved in those wars. Like, it was a lot of that kind of shit, shying away from just outright condemning the war in Gaza. Like, it's like some very obvious things that the Democrats didn't do that really disenchanted Democratic voters, which I haven't voted for a Democrat president in my life, just because I haven't been able to really get behind necessarily the message any of them that have really put forth. But I also haven't voted for a Republican. So I've bounced around with a lot of third parties. So and a lot of that, like in this case, I did that as well, and it was more of a I don't want to say a protest pick, but it's a pick based around policies. And I was hoping that a lot of people joined with me on that, as far as like sending a message to the Democratic Party at that point that, the tactics that they're using are just not acceptable. Like, I mean, after how they undermined Bernie when he ran, and in that case, undermined the will of the people in the Democratic voting bloc, and just let the people make that decision and let the dice fall where they may. And so yeah, I mean, that's where I land. I don't have a lot of confidence that they will end up doing that. That's just my point being, is that I do think that it seems like the momentum, as far as like how they're projecting, we're probably going to end up getting some fucking cunt that really appeals to the middle. But in reality, like, a lot of the conversation that we have with the people that are voting, they don't trust the intelligence of the voters to have the conversations around policies. I think you would win way more of that argument if you base the conversation around the specific policies and what the party is willing to do for the people. The problem is that they're not willing to actually back up what they claim to kind of like stand for, based off, like I said, based off of what? I mean, most of what I see is just serving these kind of like big interests and selling the country fucking right down the goddamn tubes. The division. So, but my point with that being is that I think that there's an opportunity for people to even people that otherwise kind of have strong ideologies, not just moderates, but people that are staunchly conservatives, I think you can look at some of the things being done, the trampling on human rights, the fucking wars, and you can just look at that and say, no, I can come together with somebody who may have views I don't agree with from a social perspective, and we can come together in a coalition to really resist these wars. And we can ask for things like whatever we can agree on. I don't know, healthcare is like a really big one for me, and I find common ground there, surprisingly, honestly, quite a bit with people who are conservatives. So that's what I mean as far as when we really get into the policies. They get us so caught up and divided on these like issues that barely matter in people's lives, like arguing about fucking trans basketball players or some shit. It's like, I'm not saying that doesn't matter. I'm not saying that wouldn't piss me off if my daughter was playing basketball and a fucking 6'5" biological boy jumped up and fucking swatted her shit and she cried about it. Like, that would make me feel a little emotional too. And I'm not saying I'd support it. So it's like, but at the end of the day, that's not something, one, that like necessarily needs to be fought through the president. That's more of like address it through the sports commissions locally and things like that. It's not really like necessarily like a global thing to put at the forefront. Like I said, I do think it's like we could talk about it. Culturally, we can try to debate that and kind of see where we land on it. But as far as like determining who I'm voting for based off that kind of shit, fuck no. We need to fight that battle like more close to home, in my opinion. American World War II vets would also tell you that what they witnessed in Europe and Japan may happen to American cities one day. Yeah. And then missile defense system Iron Dome, a missile defense system to today's standards. Yeah. So what the Iron Dome is, not literally a dome, brother. But I do understand like the wording there, the name on it's a little tricky. So the Gulf of America has a nice ring to it. Fucking God. Isn't it weird how we helped Stalin during World War II and helped spread his propaganda? Yeah. And then we got Gates Open Media says when he got into office the first time, he didn't know who he could trust. This time, he should be aware and get shit done. Huh. Well, I mean, brother, let's look around. And I guess he is getting shit done. I won't deny that. Well, it's fair to say, where does either party go next following Biden, Kamala, and Trump? I mean, the obvious on the Republican side is J.D. Vance. The fringes are acting a damn fool, though. Protests are being funded from outside sources, regardless of who those sources are. Iron Dome is an A- overall. The grade and A- 92. Okay. So right here. So interesting. Yeah, I think there is kind of a question as far as like where each party ends up going. It does seem like right now JD Vance would be the obvious choice, but I wouldn't book that because I think that just the Trump admin is doing a fucking horrible job with how they're selling the American people and what they're doing. And I think it's because a lot of it is mostly not good shit for most Americans, the common Americans. So it's like they're kind of just grinning and like, yeah, it is what it is. Fuck you. Is that that's at least how I'm taking it. And I feel like, like I said, the conversation that I'm having with conservatives I know, there's a decent amount of them that are seriously disenchanted with what they've seen so far. So I don't know if it would be so easy to go ahead and go in that direction. Just go with JD Vance and try to continue the momentum of MAGA. I think you might have a situation where there's some kind of power struggle within the Republican party, and you have the rhinos, if you will, try to reassert themselves and put forth their candidates. So I think that'll be an interesting thing to see, and that, in my opinion, I think that they probably would have a better argument than MAGA would at that point, because they would have what I think, at least from where we stand right now, the perceived failures of MAGA. They're going to be able to stand on that and be like, look where this shit took us. We're just normal people. And we also don't want, doctors to cut your kid's dick off and make them the opposite sex or whatever the fear mongering is around. So So yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know if it's if JD Vance is necessarily a shoo-in, but that's because I think they fucked over a lot of their goodwill. I think he definitely was. If you had asked me that like a month and a half ago, I would have said, "Oh my god, absolutely, yeah, he's fucking locked in." Let's see what else we got. But oh yeah, and then with the Democratic Party, I don't know. I mean, so I think it's still a little far out. I think that AOC is who you're kind of seeing positioned from the Democratic kind of base and who's kind of organically building up some of that momentum. But I just think, I don't know if she's going to be able to appeal to the larger, because just her name comes with so much weight because she's been dragged by conservative media so consistently that it just comes with a lot of baggage to nominate her. So I don't know for that reason if she ends up getting through. But then you also have obviously like Gavin Newsom, who just is a slimy fuck who refuses to go away, and obviously is extremely ambitious and wants to be president. I mean, I don't think I saw him on AOC is fine as fuck, and I agree with that. And I absolutely agree with that. It's a beautiful woman. Sandor here says Trump is the lifeguard letting people into the swamp. Kate, you need to wake up. Yeah, exactly. And he's putting the fucking he's putting the alligators in the fucking swamp. It's his swamp. That's all I think. It's his swamp, brother. Look around. What the fuck? Damn, YouTube pruned my comments. Yeah, they do that, bro. I don't like that. I say let it fucking fly. Let free speech happen. We're talking. If we're wrong, like Gates, for example, Gates came in here. He's been wrong all fucking night. And the boys in the comments go ahead and correct him. And they say, what the fuck are you talking about, Gates? Open your fucking eyes, brother. What the hell? Wiggy also says, I guess they don't like the words Israel and parasite in the same comment. And Wiggy, you were on that stream where I told you I took Israel out of the title. And we had like literally 70 people on the stream from the very start. And I was like, God damn, what the fuck happened? They supercharged my shit for taking Israel out of the fucking title. And then every fucking video since then, of course, we've been respectable. We've been having a great time. We've been meeting great fucking friends here. My boy Sandor, we found him through the last few streams. It's been fucking pleasure. M's been dropping some crazy fucking Q drops. Yeah, it's been a great time, but it is crazy because when I drop that video, I have to correlate it. I'm sorry. I know it's not scientific what I'm doing, but come on. I guess yeah, that's a fact. And then we got back to AOC is fine as fuck, and like we're just full in agreement with that. And I love her. She could be my president. I wonder who runs YouTube. I just saw that comment from him. Yeah, I wonder. Fucking headquarters in Tel Aviv. Let's see here. So we still have 3.5 years to go. The people are fickle, and that's true. They have short memories. Very, very true. If the economy takes off, everyone will forget about Iran. The border and illegal immigration will continue to be around. Yeah. And I think you are right on that. I think like we might be overstating people's willingness to really dissent in the short term, because at the end of the day, once a little bit like what Gates Open said, once Christmas comes and they put fucking red, white, and blue Christmas trees all over the fucking lawn, and then they make some statement about how fucking women are going to use women's restrooms and men are going to use men's restrooms, and all of a sudden it's like everybody's like, oh yes, it's fucking great. Okay, let's move on. But I mean, I don't know. Like some of it I do think is going to persist to a certain degree, because it's pretty clear we don't have that much of a desire to control Israel. So where I agree with your comment on one hand, Jay, I have to say like Israel throws a little bit of a wild card into the scenario where the administration is consistently having to manage that and manage how they're moving throughout the Middle East. It's not even fully in their control where they can say, okay, let's be a little bit more subtle with it. Let's put it on the back burner. They're constantly having to answer for the bombings of fucking Israel. So Interesting point though, for sure. And I do agree with your initial kind of premise though, as far as like the people being very fickle, and I can see what you mean. It says it is not going away this time. Streisand effect. Yeah, I'm a little familiar with that. I've heard that before. It's like you try not to mention something, the more it's like in the news or something like that. It has some kind of like meaning like that. Mexico and the UK, Europe are bucking illegal immigration right now. Hell, Mexicans in Mexico City are attacking Americans. Businesses. Yeah, I saw that actually. Makes our shit in Cali look like a cakewalk. Yeah, I feel that, but I mean, when you look at that, and if you say that that's not in line with, how I don't know exactly what you're referring to as far as that goes, but if you think that it doesn't live up to our own principles and standards, I mean, it's not a reason to lower ours. But I mean, I do feel you, and I did see the shit about Mexico today, which is fucking crazy. But I feel like you can kind of see that going. I'd seen so many videos of people being like, yeah, it's so cheap here, and I love living here, working my check job. And it's like fucking cartels watching this video right now. Last time Epstein was in the news and was blowing up, 2019, we got a pandemic. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen again. Can't handle another one of those. I saw Solid Snake came out of a box in the Epstein cell, missing 1 minute footage. Yeah, exactly. They knew who to get the job done. It's fucking sick that Solid Snake turned on us like that, but he was always kind of complicit in fucking doing somebody's fucking dirty work on accident. Sandor, so this is Jay to Sandor. Jay says, Sandor, AOC reminds me of a girl I hooked up with in college. Even though we disagree politically, I try to convince her to my viewpoint through sexual intercourse. Oh, wow. Already, brother. The one thing with her, like I said, I think that a little bit of like the framing around her, and like we kind of talked about yesterday was I don't remember who it was that mentioned it, but like her being a bartender and things like that, like those things are used as kind of things to discredit her viewpoint or her ability to contribute. And it's like a lot of people really do have to look inward and say like what that says about how either we view ourselves, if that perspective is coming from us, because I mean we're talking about like a fucking normal working class job. There's no reason that a person that's a bartender can't have great ethics and have a decent grasp on what's missing in the community that they're looking to represent. So that's exactly the same way I try to educate Trump supporters. You try to do it through sexual intercourse. Gates, watch out, brother. Watch out. Fucking Sandor's on that ass.
The
Maybe
end
literally.
of
Possibly literally
the diplomatic exchange with the United States, a world in which American companies invest again in Iran, sanctions are lifted, there is peace in the region. Is that your goal? And do you think it's possible?
From the very beginning of my administration, I first tried to have the domestic solidarity and unity, further unity amongst the Iranian people. Then we tried to have better relations with our neighboring countries of Iran. And then I had this talk with His Eminence, the Supreme Leader of Iran, and during which His Eminence emphasized that there is no limitation and there is nothing preventing the U.S. investors to come to Iran and to make investments in Iran, even presently. There has never been any limitation, anything barring them from coming into Iran, and this is the belief of the Supreme Leader of Iran. But once again, I would like to tell you that it is Israel that does not want such things to happen in the region. Israel does not want to see peace and tranquility in the region. But I would like to once again repeat that the United States President, Mr. Trump, he's capable enough to guide the region towards the peace and a brighter future and put Israel in its place, or get into a pit an endless pit or a swamp. And that is a war that Netanyahu wants the United States or the US president to be dragged into. So it is up to the United States president to choose which path that I told you about. And as I told you, there is nothing preventing the commercial or industrial or economic activities by the U.S. Business people and investors. And of course, if there was a limitation, it was caused by the U.S. sanctions, not by us.
Mr. President, my final question, if
here real quick before we get into Tucker's final question here. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So Jay says, I think people in the world are saying they don't want globalization. I don't think it's a right or wrong thing. Mexicans want Mexico City to have a bunch of Mexican businesses. They don't want migrant. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a point of view. It's a perspective. And I think it's definitely a product of our time a little bit, and some of the, I think, messaging that's been really, it's been really consistent throughout our kind of last 10 years, as far as like, or 20, 25 years, as far as like othering the people, especially of the Middle East, and feeling like there's this, serious lack of resources and engaging in these resource wars. And I just blew on the fucking mic. It's hilarious. But feeling as if this is kind of like justification. Yeah, I think it's fair. It's an interesting thing. I don't know. I've thought about it. We've had conversations previously. We were talking about Conor McGregor because he had some statement where he said Ireland's for the Irish, and it just kind of made me kind of consider that thought. And we talked about it last night as far as like a branch thought of that is like, is it ever acceptable for like a country like America, we speak English now, for the population to change so vastly from what it may have been to where now these people, the dominant language is Spanish or whatever example you want to use. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because I come from America, and it's such a diverse population that it's kind of hard for me to imagine. I don't come from some homogenous culture like Japan or something like that, where it's like, you're used to being surrounded by people that are of, a similar kind of like ethnic background and not surrounded by immigrants. I mean, I spend a lot of my time in Florida, where not only am I surrounded by people that are diverse in their ethnic background, but literally their nationality. People come here and immigrate, and they're from all over the Caribbean and so on and so forth. Which I think is, like I said, I see more good come from it than any bad. So I wouldn't necessarily advocate to go away from that, aside from I do think that we should have a focus on providing, I don't know, like providing the best opportunity for the people that are citizens of America, whether they come here and become citizens or whether they're born here. I do think that should be a focus, but not necessarily to the extreme of we need to force people that are not American out of here. People that aren't originally American can't become American. We just need to like guard that kind of, I don't know. So let's get into these other comments. Oh, fucking Christ. All right, so Sandor. These are Sandor's words. Gates, if you're still here, this is Sandor to you, brother. Put this in your mouth, Gates. This is how you drain the swamp. It operates the pump. You want to help Daddy Trump drain the swamp, don't you? I just imagine that in like a New Zealand accent. Fucking whoa. Never been captured on camera. That's that. I'm a classy broad, Sandor. You can't have this, sir. Listen, he may consider your intellectual arguments, but you're not going to get his fucking button. He's not going to drain your fucking swamp hole. By the way, Mexico City is the largest city in the Western Hemisphere. They have over 10 million people. Okay, on to Tucker. and that's good to know. Every Mexican is in the cartel. Every Mexican is in the cartel, kind of seems. A lot like Middle Easterns and Hamas. Yeah, fair enough. Mexicans, another group of people that I've been exposed to quite a bit, and I just have to say, pleasant, generally pleasant. Wiggy, ethnically speaking, most of Texas is now pretty much Latinized. Most Mexicans in Texas don't. Immigrants from Senegal and Ethiopia because they couldn't integrate into Mexico communities. Oh, okay, so they're coming from Mexico, from Senegal and Ethiopia because they couldn't integrate into Mexican communities. Is that what you're saying there? South Texas. Very interesting. Mexicans in Texas don't want migrants from Ethiopia. Okay. I'm curious, as you might be getting into it a little bit more, but yeah, I'm kind of curious that perspective, the Mexican Texas perspective, and how they feel about immigrants. All right. Do you remember when Biden, the most racist man in history, said that diversity is the future? People could change. People could change, man. I don't know. You might have to like that, but it was hitting a little bit. Yeah, the IRA is pushing back on the Muslim population in Ireland as well. Yeah, I've definitely I seen some videos on that. I saw a little like Channel 5 documentary on it. Wigwam says, my wife's family comes from Mexico, same as most of my friends and family that live in South Texas. And is this a Mexican from Mexico, or is it a Mitt Romney? My family came from Mexico because we ran down there because we want to be Mormon. Not that I'm not going to judge you either way, Wigwam. I'm just asking for the clarification. I'm sure it's a wonderful Mexican family and woman that you have there. The Stone Cold Stunner is the best finisher. Can be done on anybody. Looks brutal and is fast. Changed my mind. No, and that is true. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of the RKO. It completely eliminates that need for having to lift somebody up and be strong and you can hit it from anywhere. I guess I might have to argue that the RKO is kind of a better version of the Stone Cold Stunner, to be honest. My words, but you did that creepy voice on your own. Yeah, no, your voice would have been more sensual with it, I think. You really want to entice them. You were actually interested in getting in the hole. That's the problem. We have diversity, but we're all American. I go to Washington State. I'm still an American. In Ireland and the UK, they're dealing with a lack of assimilation. The push is to destroy Irish and UK culture. Interesting. Okay. And you think that that's done intentionally? I wonder. Just curious. I remember when Biden said poor kids can be just as smart as white kids. And he was right on that. They could do it too. Being poor has nothing to do with your brain not being good. And then we got, yes, we never forget. Never forget. And the Wiggy says, no, the last big waves of migrants were not from South America or Latin in any way. So when they were coming in the Biden era, it was a huge FU to the people living here, all dealing with citizenship issues. Very interesting. Okay. And I mean, I take your word for that. I mean, that's something I've seen some footage and things like that, and people talking about, like the military age men from fucking China and here and there coming through the southern border. But you always have, like, I'm always, skeptical. I'm always like wondering, like, okay, well, how much is that a thing, or did you just find a bit of that and then you're blowing it up out of proportion to scare people so they continue to watch your whatever news show? So, I mean, you saying that, definitely I believe you. So that's interesting. That's Jay says that's the way it's perceived. I ran out of room. All good. And then it says, but it backfires. Now everyone knows what's the important What's important to preserve? Say what you mean there, Em, because I'm trying to follow. I'm trying to follow a lot of lines of thought here. So, I don't want to incorrectly blame the Jews there, but when I read that comment, I think you're talking about the Jews. The organization of protests in the UK a few months ago was a lot more than just a few pissed off racists. Yeah, no, I believe that. I believe that there's reason to be upset around immigration and things like that. I think when anybody gets upset, it's more of a situation where it's like there's still also a way to do it and a standard in which, as far as like you should expect your country to conduct themselves. But I mean, for me, I'm not against removing illegals. To be clear, being tough on immigration is really like that's more of like a liberal take anyways. I think that's been kind of perverted through what our politics have went through over recent history, where the liberals have kind of like lost their way on this issue specifically. It has always been a liberal kind of like stance to say we need to control immigration, not to not allow immigration. That's like the more of the fucking right-wing twist to it, is that we need to severely limit it. But the liberal perspective is that it does have an adverse effect on the relationship of the American workers to employers. So it's like, I'm all about that. And I'm all about the workers and the workers being, and even people that are trying to immigrate here being treated with integrity in the workplace and getting what they're owed from their work. So it's like, don't get it twisted that I'm definitely not against, deporting people that are here illegally, specifically if they're doing illegal crimes. We probably would disagree on how much resources should be put towards doing that. I'm not sure, because that'd be another place where I disagree with Trump. It's like if we're cutting costs, like they just passed in this bill, it's like the most funding to any of our government programs is going to ICE. It's like, do I really think that it's a situation where we have to like overfund at this point and overcorrect? I'm not necessarily, but I do think that we should focus in on actual criminals and people who, and then, like I said, if it does so happen to where you find that somebody breaks the law, I'm not saying like you should close your eyes and be like, okay, yeah, just go ahead and leave out the back door. We'll act like you never came in. But yeah, so I totally agree. As far as like your point here, though, I definitely don't think it's just being opposed to immigration or having some kind of like stance on that. I don't think it's something that automatically makes you racist or something like that. And then Wiki says, I saw them with my own eyes. Hundreds upon hundreds. Whoa. From months on end. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I saw some of the footage, so I hear you. But it's interesting. I obviously respect your opinion, how long we've been in here rocking. So it's like, it's interesting to hear that from you. So M here says, well, the powers that be would prefer us to just be a class of generic blobs with the only identity being whatever the government tells us. Yeah, I definitely think you're right on that. And I think that is the end goal. And then Wiki here says, I've also had personal acquaintance deported day one of Trump and administration. So they know who and where and what we all are. Wow. That's crazy. Well, I mean, I'm sorry that that happened. Hopefully he got sent somewhere, like back to his own country, hopefully, at least. And either way, I hopefully he's able to recover from that. But yeah, that's rough. But I imagine like being in Texas, definitely there's a few times in like I said, I live in Florida. So we have a lot of people here who are immigrants, and we do have some illegal immigrants, as far as like it's known within the community, that will work at this like orange field, and they were out there like right away. So to your point, like, I mean, they kind of already are clocking it, know where to look, and they're like, once the leash is off, they're like, okay, we'll go fucking go round them up. There's a like a app that like is supposed to warn people where ICE is in the community, which is interesting. But let's see here. And then they can track your location at all times. And immigration is definitely the top issue to Republicans, which is why when Trump starts saying, let's round people up, that his popularity increases. No, I wasn't saying that you. That's what you believe. Oh no, I feel you. I'm not necessarily saying that either. I trust that whatever you're saying, I'm giving you the best intentions. Honestly, it's just as I respond to it, sometimes it's a little disjointed when you're in the comments and we're talking back and forth. So sometimes I'm trying to make it as clear as possible, kind of where I'm coming from. But yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that now, but I think that's a little bit of like a movement that we're seeing from Republicans, because Republicans, similar to like libertarians, which I'm curious your opinion on that, Em. I think you're a libertarian, right? If I'm not mistaken. The conservative belief is less focus on the conservative, the immigration, and that if people decide that they want to, enter some kind of business agreement, that they should be completely able to do that, and the government shouldn't step in between that and all that kind of thing. Stating what the narrative was. No, I feel you on that totally. And then I appreciate, by the way, I want to say here, Jay, and then just for everybody, Sandor, Wiggy, I think we have a great diversity of thought in here, and regardless of like where you land on it, I do think it's interesting to see just you guys kind of like unpacking this and your own beliefs and stuff. So it's, yeah, I think everybody's perspective is actually adds a great deal to the conversation. Wiggy, Trump ultimately reports to money and capital. So once money starts screaming about it's cheap labor, your migrants will stay, which actually that's a good point, because right there we actually have seen them dial back on specifically that. So that's a great point and great context to add to the conversation. Jay says here, and just so you know, my major was political science. Very cool. I can listen to other viewpoints and not get in my feelings. Most can't, but just so you know, I don't offend or get offended easily. Half the problem. Yeah, I agree with that on that, brother. And I hope that's clear as well, that I'm right there with you. I don't have any issue with anything any of you guys are saying, really. So problem is people can't debate anymore. You're obviously a dude that is the same way. Yes, sir. Can't resolve an issue if you can't talk about it. No, absolutely. And also I just find it interesting regardless. It's like, shit, if we don't even find a solution, I found that it's just interesting to find to hear your perspective, and then also legitimate, like, factual things. I mean, there's already some shit that got dropped in the comments earlier, some truth bombs that probably got my channel deleted. I'm probably fucking, it's just us in some fucking little box somewhere. They've already captured our consciousness probably. That's why I can't end the stream. It won't even let me. But let's see. Let's assume that migration solves the labor problem. Okay, then we don't need AI then. So AI is going to be used for other things. We said, let's assume that migration solves the labor problem. Okay, then we don't need AI then. So yeah, I mean, my only pushback there is like, I think that AI is going to be utilized for more than like what migrant labor is going to be is expected to do. AI isn't about need. Yeah, I agree with that, and I do think that's the issue. So it's not necessarily about just a one-to-one need between the labor to the AI implementation. It's like once the AI is here, then people are completely in a position to where there's no like social kind of leverage. I mean, I think, yeah, we're basically fucking cooked at that point for sure. Because like, how do you feed yourself? Nobody has to give you a job ever. I don't know. Like, those are real problems that I think are probably closer than like. I think they're closer than what the government acts like. I hear a lot of people who talk about like these social things on the internet discuss this kind of shit, but it's like, why is a plan for labor with AI coming into prominence? Why is that like not the number one question that number one thing that we're constantly talking about and trying to develop some plan for? Instead, we're talking about stupid shit. AI is always way beyond the labor issue. AI is being used more as a tool for the modern day Godhead Trinity, the big three of social control. Give us the other two. So there's a way beyond the labor issue. Yeah. Specifically, give us the Godhead Trinity. The modern day Godhead Trinity. Is that technology? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not even going to keep on guessing. You say Godhead Trinity. I need that cleared up in the chat. Let's get into the rest of this real quick.
We wind up in a broader war. Could you expect assistance from Russia and China, military and economic assistance from your allies, Russia and China?
We have always put our trust in God, and in God we trust. And we are capable enough to defend ourselves and to stand on our own 2 feet and to defend our country, our territorial integrity to the last drop of our blood. As I have said again and again, we don't want wars. We don't want to develop a nuclear weapon, and this false image, this wrong mentality created in the minds of the U.S. Decision makers and officials is because of the devilish machinations instigated by Netanyahu and the Israeli regime and its policies based on warmongering. And the U.S. president should know that another war will only spread more instability in the Middle East, and it is not going to be in the interest or in favor of the U.S. president or the U.S. government to move in that or towards that direction. They instead need to choose peace and tranquility, which is something that I am and my government and my country are after. And I also, as I said, I believe that the U.S. president is powerful enough to put Israel, to Netanyahu in their place, to contain them and replace warmongering, bloodshed, and conflicts with peace and tranquility.
Mr. President, thank you for taking the time to explain your perspective. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for providing me with an opportunity to tell you about what is going on in my mind and in my heart. And I hope that peace and tranquility will prevail, not just for the people of the United States, for the U.S. officials, but for the whole world, and especially the people of my region. And thank you again.
This man basically is begging us for peace, for Christ's sake. Holy moly. Come on. Sandor says, I can't listen to this hateful rhetoric anymore. He's a monster. And then M says, Democrats, this Iran guy is definitely talking about Republicans. MAGA, this Iran guy is definitely talking about Dems. Let's see here. Okay, the Godhead was from the Council of Nicaea, the birth of Christianity as a state religion. It was used as a way to add mystery to a bureaucratic structure used for control. Beautiful. Came through and just fucking gave us a beautiful synopsis there. So there were forces in Iran strongly opposed to this interview. We'd like to forces in Iran. Okay. We'd like to thank Azad Media and its CEO, independent journalist Mahdi Ahmadi, who helped make it possible. That's great. But it's kind of interesting because I know there was people that were shitty that he was having this conversation domestically. So it's just interesting that he highlights Iran, but maybe just another kind of example how careful you have to be in any way that you would be I don't know, I guess criticizing the current administration. So it's just, definitely it's crazy to see. I think that's extreme. That's why that kind of conversation is important to have, because like we said, even earlier throughout the conversation about the video, it's like, it shows you that these are people that want to end a war. They don't want to continue to be in like these endless conflicts they can't afford to, and they don't want their families to be put in danger, when the only narrative that you'll really see from mainstream media is that this is a death cult. They have no They completely will disregard their families' lives in order to destroy us. They hate America. Even when they started off with that video talking about death to America, it's like it really kind of dispels that and lets you know that you just can't continue to sit there and say they can't be spoken to and there's no partner for peace when it's clear that we're not even trying and we're consistently sabotaging whatever kind of hope we have for that. And I mean, like I said, it's not even veiled anymore. I think I played for you guys already where Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that he wrote to the Nobel Peace Prize that he wanted to nominate him for. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, how fucking tone deaf can you be? I mean, I don't know. Is it tone deaf or just do they literally just want to shit in our eyes? America from its founding was literally to escape such control that had menaced Europe. It is a death cult. Didn't you hear? Peace and tranquility. How is the military industrial complex going to survive that? Yeah, fuck that. If anybody's going to die, it's not going to be them. Well, absolutely. His takes are wild, and he predicted this Iran shit a year ago. Whose takes are wild? Who predicted the Iran shit a year ago, brother? I see here. Sometimes I could see more of your comments off to the side, so it is interesting. I do think that some of your shit is getting scooped up in the algorithm of hate. And let me see here. So I know I do have some more shit, but at the end of the day, I think we gotta say I'm probably gonna end up going live tomorrow. I'm planning on it. Like I said, the middle of the week I want to really go crazy with the streams, and then the weekend I'll most likely not be streaming as much unless there's maybe like a UFC or just like somebody that wants to stream and fire it up with me. Maybe we'll do a weekend stream, but overall, typically I'm going to try to really be here in the middle of the week for you guys. Love the conversation. You guys have been incredible all night. And like I said, a ton of insight. Like I said, there's just a genuine benefit just exchanging these kind of conversations with you guys. So it's like, can't overstate that, to be honest, and genuinely. And Gates Open Media, I appreciate you hanging in here and just like, you got clobbered a few times, but it's for your own good. And you just gotta fucking take Sandor's sweet gravy of fucking truth. It's like fact check. Also, shout out to you, fact check, coming through again, coming through with a little bit of a fact check. The cheat code of a name. And then M, obviously, thank you for sticking with us, man. You definitely always add to the conversation in a different perspective, because you definitely got a different perspective as far as like socially and things like that. And I'm curious to dig more into your libertarian beliefs. You guys are always welcome to hop up on here, and I'll share the link again. I did in the chat a few times. If you guys didn't see it, or anybody watching that wanted to hop on, if you didn't see it, all good. I never expect for y'all to hop in, because like I said, but it's important to say this. I never expect for it, because I've watched people too where it's like, I'm trying to sit here and just vibe and watch you, brother. I want to support, so I'm going to comment and do all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I'm sitting here with my daughter. I can't hop in. Gates, he might not be on the podcast still, but he used to do that. I'd hop in there to support, and he'd be like, get on. It's like, damn, I'm sitting here with my baby. I can't always get on. So I get that. So never any pressure at all. I appreciate just you guys giving me your guys' time and hanging out with me. And I mean, I'll do this for longer, but it's almost 4 a.m. And my woman right here is in the garage. She's found her way out to the studio with me, and she's politely looking at her phone, but she's like, what the fuck is going on, buddy? What the fuck do they have to say that's so interesting that you're fucking on here all night? But at the same time, you got to show love to Sandor and the boys, Sandor and Wiggy Wom, my boys on the fucking fact check, expanding our fucking our views on the world. And we're definitely gonna have to get into some. I don't remember who said Event 201, but that number is ringing off in my head. I also remember that his name is Ron Payne. So there's a few things from the stream I'm going to take away that I definitely are ingrained in my consciousness as I lay down to go sleep here. Mom says, oh, that was already. It says, yes, absolutely. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, Gates. I mean, he's probably not here for it anymore. He probably cashed out. He's located in Florida as well. I know he streams as well, but He's located in Florida somewhere, so he might have conked out on us eventually. But sometimes that happens, Sandor. When you bring the big sword to the fight, you sometimes put him to bed on that. I am going to go check on that request on PlayStation now. I'll accept that if I see it in there. Also, check out Uncharted X. Is that Uncharted X, or are you just saying Uncharted like the video game? Because if you're saying to check out Uncharted, I already have, and it's fucking awesome. But I'll check out Uncharted X if that's a different thing that I have no idea about. I love it. He might be a Chinese agent, but he called. Oh, okay, Chinese. Okay, so that's not Uncharted the video game. We were talking. All right, I'm with you. Yes, I'll check that out. Uncharted X. All this stuff I'll check out because I want to come back in here and I want to definitely chop it up with you guys about this. He might be a Chinese agent is an interesting thing, but I'll have that in mind when I'm listening to him. And yeah, anybody that I didn't shout out, I think I got Jay. Thank you, brother. You came through here, and I know you hop on sometimes. Always welcome, brother. Always welcome. It's a lot of fun to get these conversations rolling. I'm very open-minded, and also I try to be easy to communicate with. We'll have a good conversation regardless, whatever it's about. And Wiggy Wom. Woo! Yeah, I'm back. That almost happened, but no, I'm back. God bless you guys. Y'all are the shit. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I accidentally just refreshed my whole fucking screen and shit and kicked me out. So it's my fault. I can't blame Israel. I cannot blame Israel for that one. But yeah, make sure you like, share, subscribe, help the algorithm. Share this with anybody that has just fun takes and wants to hop in here and have a conversation and have some fun. Aside from that, we'll just keep on kicking it, having a great time, and look out for me tomorrow or the day after. I'm shooting for 9:00. If it would have let me stream, I would have been streaming at like 9:30ish today. So we'll see how that goes. But the internet is a little flaky even right now. I see it fucking around, but it held true. It did hold true. So we made it happen. Wiggy Wom, I'd have to send them to you some other way. Oh, all good. Brother, I'm telling you, hey, get with me on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter or Instagram, Sit and Politic. You can find me on all platforms, Sit and Politic. I control it. Except my old lady also controls it, so don't send me anything too provocative. But yeah, no, 100%. Send me shit through there. We'll definitely get together. We'll link and figure out all the shit. Definitely the Uncharted shit I'll check out though. Any other kind of shit. But much love. Shout out to you guys. Be safe. Get a good night's sleep or have a great day, whichever it is for you. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.